Hello everyone, this is Six-Path Weeb. Welcome, or welcome back, to my YouTube channel. Today, we're diving into part 4 of our ongoing fanfic series, What If Naruko Was Banished and Became the Raikage? Disclaimer, the content on this channel is for entertainment and discussion purposes only. I do not own any of the anime footage used in my videos. All rights and credits go to their respective creators and copyright holders. Let's get into it. A day and a half later, Hokage's office. Tsunade sat in her office, reviewing a stack of intelligence reports regarding the borders of Grass Country, Kusa no Kuni, and Rice Country, Ta no Kuni. According to the information she received, there had been no incidents, no skirmishes, unauthorized crossings, or disruptions from either the Grass or Sound villages. Even more unusually, there had been no recent maritime activity or disturbances by Kiri vessels, which had been common in recent months. This unusual quiet did not sit well with her. Knowing Orochimaru and his allies, silence often indicated preparation rather than peace. If there had been no open conflict lately, it likely meant something more elaborate was in the works. Just as Tsunade leaned back in her chair, lost in thought, a masked Anbu operative appeared before her in a blur of motion. His wolf-themed mask reflected the light from her desk lamp. "Hokage-sama, I bring urgent news from one of our patrol units outside the village." Tsunade raised her eyebrows. "What is it?" "Kurenai-san, Lee-san, Sakura-san, and Choji-san have returned. They're just outside the gates and are heading this way." "What?" Tsunade stood abruptly, shock written across her face. "That's impossible. They were being held in the hold. There's no way they could have escaped on their own. Are you sure they're not imposters?" "Our patrol squad thoroughly inspected them for any disguise techniques or transformation jutsu. They confirmed identities using their personal code words, and every one of them responded correctly," the Anbu replied professionally. Still stunned, Tsunade narrowed her eyes. "Then how did they manage to return?" "We're not sure yet," the Anbu admitted. "Kurenai-san has requested a full council meeting. She believes the information they have must be shared with all senior shinobi and council members. She stated it involves Kumagakure and the Heavenly Alliance." Tsunade's eyes widened. "Kumo and the Heavenly Alliance? What could they have to do with this?" "She refused to say more until everyone is present," the Anbu said respectfully. "Very well. Inform the entire council and all senior shinobi that an emergency meeting is to be held immediately. That includes Hatake. Is that clear?" "Yes, Hokage-sama," the Anbu said with a salute before vanishing from sight. Tsunade sighed, frustration evident in her voice. "Where are you when I need you, Jiraiya?" As if summoned by her words, the Toad Sage himself appeared on the windowsill behind her with a grin. "Right here, Princess. Did you miss me?" he said in a teasing tone. Tsunade spun around. "Could you please use the door like everyone else?" "No fun in that," Jiraiya chuckled. "But I came with important news. It's about Kurenai and the others." "I know," Tsunade interrupted. "They've arrived and have called for a full council meeting to explain what happened. They say it concerns Kumo and the Heavenly Alliance." "They arrived faster than I expected," Jiraiya muttered thoughtfully. "Those new Kumo ships must be faster than we assumed." Tsunade frowned. "What new ships? What's Kumagakure's involvement in this?" Jiraiya raised his hands. "I think we should wait for the meeting. Even I don't have the full picture yet." "Fine. Let's go," Tsunade said, rising from her seat and heading toward the council chamber, with Jiraiya close behind. 30 minutes later, council room. The council room quickly filled with the village's most influential figures, council members, clan heads, and senior shinobi. They took their seats in solemn silence, aware that something important was about to be shared. Tsunade stood at the head of the room. "Thank you all for coming on such short notice. As many of you know, a critical new development has occurred involving the recent detainment of Yuhi Kurenai and her team." "Grandma Tsunade, what happened to Kurenai Obasan and the others?" Konohamaru asked anxiously. "I'll let them explain themselves," Tsunade replied, motioning for the guards to open the doors. Gasps filled the room as Kurenai, Lee, Sakura, and Choji stepped inside. Shock rippled through the gathered crowd, though Tsunade, Jiraiya, and the Anbu commander remained composed. Lee's wife, Yakumo, held back tears of relief as she resisted the urge to rush to his side. Choza, overcome with emotion, silently offered thanks for his son's return. Konohamaru blinked in disbelief before joy spread across his face at the sight of his beloved aunt. Once the initial wave of emotion settled, Koharu stood. "Kurenai-san, it is a joy to see you all safe." But how did you escape from the hold? We didn't escape, Kurenai said clearly. We were rescued. The room erupted in murmurs before Tsunade raised her hand for silence. Who rescued you? She asked, although she already had a suspicion. Kumagakure's shinobi, Kurenai answered calmly. More voices filled the room in hushed conversation. Homura stood next. Why would Kumagakure launch a mission to retrieve you and your team? Their mission wasn't to rescue us specifically, Kurenai explained. Their goal was to extract Princess Sachi and assist a group of political detainees. We were fortunate they offered us aid during their mission. But Umi no Kuni isn't part of the Heavenly Alliance, Koharu said, puzzled. That's true. However, Tsuki no Kuni and Getsugakure are part of the alliance, and Princess Sachi is engaged to Prince Hikaru of Tsuki no Kuni. That made her important to them. Inoiki spoke next. Then why assist the detainees? I believe it's because Kumagakure and the Heavenly Alliance have formed an understanding with a reformist faction in Mizu no Kuni, Kurenai said. Their goal seems to be supporting those seeking a change in leadership. The implications of that statement echoed around the chamber. Danzo stood, his expression contemplative. This could shift the balance. If the Heavenly Alliance is moving against Kirigakure with the help of internal factions, it may limit Kiri's ability to support Orochimaru's remaining forces. That could work to our advantage. Tsunade held up her hand again. We'll discuss the political ramifications later. Kurenai, I believe we'd all appreciate hearing how this rescue was accomplished. Before Kurenai could respond, Jiraiya stepped forward. Before she explains, allow me to share what I witnessed. As you know, I was assigned to monitor the hold and collect information. I happened to be nearby when the operation occurred. I even managed to record part of the mission with my portable reel camera, which I brought to document patrol patterns. He held up the reel for everyone to see. A projector was quickly brought in and set up against one of the larger walls. As the room dimmed slightly, everyone turned their attention to the screen, waiting to witness what Jiraiya had captured. For the next 5 minutes, Tsunade, Kurenai, the council, and the senior shinobi observed the recorded footage in silence. They watched as the Kumo airship launched an attack on the prison facility, disabling the defensive emplacements before releasing the storm Onbu on gliders. These operatives skillfully deployed various jutsu from above, targeting the Kiri-nin in the open. Following this, the airship dropped a vessel known as the Swordfish into the sea, which generated a large wave that swept across the area, dispersing many of the opposing forces and flooding the battlefield. They continued to observe as smoke bombs were deployed into the central prison yard, followed by the storm Onbu gliding down to land on the sea wall before disappearing into the mist. The Swordfish intermittently emerged from the water, providing cover by firing from its onboard weapons. Eventually, the Swordfish breached the gate at docking point 2 and swiftly retreated with Kurenai and others on its roof. They also noted the rebel ships leaving the supply dock beneath the cliffs. Then, the lower level of the prison began to collapse, causing chaos among nearby Kiri forces. As the building gave way, the Swordfish submerged and departed. When the footage ended, the council room was filled with an overwhelming silence. The level of technology and coordination displayed by Kumo and its allies astonished everyone. Even Kurenai and her team were surprised, as they had been imprisoned during the incident and were unaware of many of these details. After a moment, Jiraiya addressed the room. As you saw, the entire assault lasted under 5 minutes. In that short time, the entire prison population, approximately 300, escaped, and Kiri lost a significant number of shinobi due to the destruction of the facility. The silence quickly dissolved into intense discussion and outbursts. How did Kumo achieve this level of advancement without our knowledge? We need to gather intelligence on their technology immediately. We must prepare a strategy in case they decide to turn on us. Tsunade had heard enough. Silence, she commanded, slamming her hand on the council table with such force that it cracked visibly. The room quieted instantly. Before jumping to conclusions, we should hear Kurenai's report. Only then can we fully understand what occurred, she said firmly, asserting her role as Hokage. Kurenai began recounting the events, describing the tactics and remarkable coordination of the Storm Onbu, including their use of the blind assassin art and their teamwork. She expressed her professional opinion that their skills were more advanced than those of Konoha's Onbu, a comment that unsettled some in the room. Lee supported her statement by detailing his own experience fighting alongside members of the Storm unit, including Falcon and Hawk. Kurenai continued, sharing what Commander Sun Lee had explained regarding the reasons behind their rescue and the encounter that occurred on the Swordfish. She described how the Storm Onbu successfully engaged and defeated Kiri's elite underwater squad, Shark. This only added to the council's unease, confirming the superiority of Kumo's tactical units. She then described the confrontation with Kiri warships and the unexpected appearance of Kumo's fortress ships, massive naval vessels that dwarfed anything the other nations possessed. Even Jiraiya was taken aback, astonished that such developments had escaped his network's attention. Though initially skeptical, the council had no choice but to believe her account when Lee, Sakura, and Choji corroborated her descriptions. More murmuring broke out until Tsunade once again restored order. Kurenai then explained how the fortress ships had absorbed the swordfish and escorted them to a larger vessel, the Zenio Rai Uoa, where they eventually met the Rakudime Raikage. "You actually met the Rakudime Raikage?" Homura asked, clearly surprised. The elusive leader had long been a mystery to Konoha, known mostly through rare accounts and rumors. Kurenai nodded. "Can you describe him or share anything about his demeanor?" Homura continued. "Unfortunately, not much," she replied. "He wore traditional Raikage attire and a mask that concealed his face, similar to Kakashi's. He's tall, about 6'2", with striking blue eyes. His presence was powerful, and he carried an air of immense authority." This vague description left the council disappointed. "There is, however, one critical piece of information we learned," Kurenai added. This drew everyone's attention, and Tsunade signaled her to continue. "We discovered that the Raikage is also Sorai, Blue Lightning, the one credited with defeating Kakuzu and Hidan." The room was filled with gasps and stunned expressions. "Are you certain?" Tsunade asked. "Yes," Kurenai affirmed. "He confirmed it himself when I asked to speak with Sorai. The Raikage told us that he was, in fact, Sorai, and had allowed the world to believe otherwise, until now." "But why hide that he was Sorai?" Ashikaga Shin asked in confusion. "It's strategic," Jiraiya answered. "After the Civil War, both Kumagakure and the Lightning Country were vulnerable. Revealing all their strengths at that time would have made them targets. By keeping his identity hidden and allowing rumors to spread, the Raikage ensured other nations remained cautious." Jiraiya elaborated, explaining how misinformation regarding Sorai's identity diverted attention from the Raikage himself. It also gave the illusion that Kumo had multiple high-level operatives capable of defeating top-tier threats. In doing so, they discouraged attacks and protected their interests while they rebuilt. "He even misled the Akatsuki," Jiraiya continued. "Knowing they were hunting the Jinchuriki, especially since Kumo had two, he created the impression of an additional elite shinobi under their command. It was a clever tactic, and clearly, it worked." "But if that's the case, why reveal the truth now?" asked Amako Taichi. "Because Kumo has recovered," Jiraiya replied. "They're no longer hiding. They're showing the world their strength and letting it be known that they're ready for any challenge." Danzo spoke up next, concerned. "In terms of military strength and technology, Kumo and the Heavenly Alliance have become too powerful. We need to address this before it becomes a threat to us." "That's enough, Danzo," Tsunade interjected. "They've shown us no hostility. On the contrary, they returned our shinobi safely. We're facing enough challenges already. I won't tolerate talk of unnecessary conflict." Danzo reluctantly agreed, though his expression showed clear displeasure. Privately, he resolved to gather more intelligence himself. Tsunade turned back to Kurenai. "Please continue your report." Kurenai explained how they were housed on the Zenio Rai Uoa and described how security protocols limited their access to certain areas, including the bridge and launch facilities. Escorts accompanied them at all times. This disappointed council members like Danzo and Koharu, who had hoped to gather more detailed intelligence on Kumo's operations. Still, they couldn't fault the Raikage's caution, acknowledging they would have done the same in his position. Kurenai added that the princes of the Sea and Moon countries had expressed interest in joining the Heavenly Alliance after engaging with Kumo's fleet. This news upset several council members, particularly Ashikaga Shin and Amako Taichi, who realized any potential trade alliances with those nations were now lost. Kurenai concluded her report by saying that they were safely returned to the shores of the Fire Country and made their way home without incident. "So he simply let you go?" Sasuke questioned, his tone skeptical. "After everything, he didn't try to get any information from you or detain you? That doesn't sound like the fearsome figure people claim he is." "If that's what you think, Uchiha-san," Choji responded calmly, "then you're underestimating him. The Raikage is stronger than you realize, and he carries more honor in one gesture than you have shown so far." Sasuke looked ready to retort, but Tsunade raised her voice. "Enough. There will be no arguments in this chamber. Is that clear?" "Yes, Hokage-sama," Choji replied respectfully, bowing his head. Yes, Hokage-san, Sasuke replied with a smirk, using a less formal title when addressing Tsunade's order. Tsunade frowned slightly at the Uchiha's lack of proper respect but decided to focus on the matter at hand. The Hokage is right. We have more pressing matters to address, specifically, the increasing military strength demonstrated by Kumo and the Heavenly Alliance, stated Homura, his tone serious. I agree, added Inoiki. Those new airships that Kumo has developed could become a major strategic problem. With them, they could target any base, village, or stronghold from above with ease, and there wouldn't be much anyone could do in response. That's true, Yakumo chimed in. But in hindsight, this shouldn't come as a complete surprise. According to Hitake Kakashi and his former Jinan team, during their mission to protect Lady Daimyo Koyuki back when she was still an actress, the Land of Spring, formerly Snow Country, already had similar airships. It's logical to assume they shared their technological advancements with Kumo and their allies in the Heavenly Alliance. The development of underwater vessels is also concerning, said the Anbu captain. With such technology, they could discreetly approach or disable any maritime fleet. If Kumo produces more of these ships, no navy in the elemental continent would be able to effectively oppose them. We must not overlook their fortress ships either, noted Choza. Even a single one of those can overpower an entire fleet of smaller vessels. According to Kurenai, Kumo likely has more than just the three observed. This could give them unmatched naval strength, potentially overpowering even Kiri's forces and allowing them to launch amphibious operations with relative ease. There's also Kumo's airborne unit, the Skyhawk Ninja, Hana added. Like their airships, these shinobi can provide aerial support, launch strategic attacks, and serve as scouts, relaying information back to their ground forces. Their versatility makes them an invaluable asset in both offense and reconnaissance. We also can't forget the volley guns inherited from the Land of Spring, now mounted on their airships, said Homura. Those weapons alone are a game changer. Yes, Danzo said, his voice contemplative, and they also seem to have a weapon that can discharge concentrated electric energy, powerful enough to damage entire structures. That is a significant concern. While that's certainly important, Danzo-san, Shibi said, I believe their shinobi capabilities present an even greater concern. We must not overlook the recent accomplishments of Kumo's elite Anbu division, Storm. Their performance has surpassed even our own elite units. They completed a highly challenging mission with exceptional precision and without a single casualty. Kurenai-san reports that their training and teamwork far exceed our standards, which is deeply troubling considering our reliance on cooperative strategy. The Anbu captain gave a reluctant nod, acknowledging that even his own squads would have struggled with such a mission. Moreover, Shikaku began, drawing everyone's attention, we must consider their successful operation against Kiri's most secure facility, known as the Hold. With only one airship, an underwater vessel, and 3 teams, they managed to free Princess Sachi of the Land of Sea, Kurenai-san, her team, and several allied detainees. According to Kurenai, everyone was rescued safely in under 5 minutes. A mission like that would typically require months of preparation and high-level intelligence. This suggests Kumo has an exceptional intelligence network, possibly even superior to Jiraiya-sama's, Shikaku continued. It's the only explanation for how they were able to respond so quickly to the princess's abduction and execute such a complex operation successfully. They also seem to know exactly where to find the security systems, armory, and the cells holding Kurenai-san, her team, and the princess, he added. This indicates possible collaboration with the rebel factions of the water country. Moreover, Kurenai confirmed that the entire operation was designed by the Raikage himself, showcasing remarkable strategic skill. He coordinated timing, teamwork, and tactics flawlessly, all within a week. He accounted for enemy reinforcement delays, the time needed for prison personnel to regroup after the main entrance was disabled, and even used the underwater vessel to generate a large wave to create distraction and confusion. The smoke screen added to the confusion, blinding the enemy while the Storm Nin moved undetected. And once the rebel allies were freed, the disarray among the prison guards made it impossible for them to mount a defense. In the end, they regrouped and withdrew before reinforcements could intercept them, Shikaku concluded. It was a masterfully planned mission. Once their allies were safely evacuated, the Kumo forces neutralized the prison itself. Nara-san, are you truly suggesting that every step of that operation was planned with such precision? Asked Koharu, visibly surprised. I am, Shikaku replied firmly. It was far too coordinated to be anything else. And I believe there was a deeper objective to the mission. You mean the Raikage's plan had more to it than simply rescuing the princess and Kurenai's team? Tsunade asked with growing interest. Yes, The way the operation was carried out was certainly impressive. It demonstrated Kumo and the Heavenly Alliance's military capability to the entire world, said Shikaku calmly, analyzing the situation. Soon, details will likely emerge about how the princess was successfully rescued and how efficient their forces are. This will result in many clients choosing to work with Kumo and other allied shinobi villages instead of us, especially Kumo. We'll be particularly impacted because we were originally assigned to safeguard the princess. Before we could even attempt a proper rescue of both her and our own shinobi, Kumo executed a swift mission with a small team and managed to turn the tide completely, leaving Kiri embarrassed. They also revealed their technological advancements, which only strengthened their reputation. Shikaku continued, "What makes this more difficult is the fact that Kumo not only rescued the princess, someone we were responsible for, but they also brought our captured shinobi back to us. This makes us appear incapable in the eyes of the world. That alone may have been a strategic move, to ensure that other nations lean toward Kumo and the Heavenly Alliance. There's also the possibility that by conducting the rescue in the way they did, the Raikage hoped to gain the favor of Umi no Kuni and Tsuki no Kuni, potentially expanding their alliance and solidifying control over southern trade routes. Furthermore," he added, "by assisting in the breakout of political prisoners from the hold, they've likely reinforced their relationship with the independent factions in Mizu no Kuni. That kind of alliance could be very advantageous if any kind of tension were to rise with Kiri in the future." Shikaku's expression turned thoughtful. If nothing else, this proves that the Raikage is a brilliant strategist. Like a master of shogi, he made one move that placed both Kiri and us in a difficult position. He might actually be fun to play shogi with, Shikaku thought as he finished. The room quickly filled with heated discussion as those present debated Kumo's growing power and how to respond. Shikaku's analysis made sense, and if it was accurate, the Raikage and the Heavenly Alliance could become a major influence on the global stage. The noise died down when Tsunade raised her voice firmly. "Enough." Everyone settled down as Jiraiya then stepped forward to speak. "I agree with Shikaku, especially about their intelligence operations," Jiraiya said seriously. "But we can't overlook their counterintelligence, either." "What do you mean, Jiraiya-sama?" Choza asked. "I mean the fact that they managed to hide advanced technology like fortress ships and airships from the world, including my network. And I usually hear everything," Jiraiya explained. "Ever since their civil conflict ended, Kumo has been unusually secretive. We've had no solid information from Kaminari no Kuni for years. That's a major accomplishment in itself. And I suspect we've only seen a glimpse of what they're really capable of. This makes it clear that the Heavenly Alliance presents a serious challenge," Koharu added. "I believe I've already stated that we are not to discuss them as an adversary in this setting, Koharu," Tsunade responded calmly but firmly. "Let's be cautious with our words." Koharu frowned slightly but didn't argue. "Hokage-sama," Hinata began, her voice calm but steady, "perhaps we should consider reaching out to Kumo and the Heavenly Alliance for a possible partnership. They clearly have the ability to assist us against Orochimaru's forces. We have common interests, especially regarding Kiri. An alliance could help us both." Many in the room were visibly surprised. Given the history between the Hyuga clan and Kumo, Hinata's suggestion was unexpected. The past was complicated, especially for her, yet here she was, willing to set it aside for the greater good. Tsunade nodded thoughtfully. "That's a possibility. We certainly could benefit from their support in the conflict. But we must proceed carefully. I won't enter an alliance without understanding exactly who we're working with." She then turned to Jiraiya. "I need you to look into everything related to Kumo and the Heavenly Alliance from the past 10 years. Find out all you can, discreetly." "Yes, Princess," Jiraiya responded with a small smile before disappearing in a blur of movement. With the meeting concluded, Tsunade dismissed the council, and the room gradually emptied. Some made their way home to reunite with loved ones. Konohamaru joyfully greeted his aunt Naruko along with Hinata, Kiba, Shino, and Akamaru, who excitedly jumped on Kurenai and showered her with playful affection. Elsewhere, Lee was warmly greeted by Yakumo, who gently scolded him for worrying her, then embraced him tightly. Moments later, Ten-Ten and Neji joined in the reunion, expressing their happiness at seeing their teammate safe. Guy arrived shortly after, loudly celebrating Lee's unshaken determination, until Ten-Ten and Yakumo quietly reminded both of them to keep it down. Choji's return brought emotional relief to his father and friends. His father gave him a bear hug, causing Choji to gasp in surprise. Shikamaru wiped away a few tears and jokingly told Choji how troublesome he was for making everyone worry. Ino, equally emotional, lightly tapped Choji and told him to be more careful next time. Tsunade and Shizune checked on Sakura, expressing how glad they were to see her safe, which brought a smile to Sakura's face. 2 weeks later, in a hidden location. In an underground room, 5 figures sat around a circular table, each accompanied by 2 of their shinobi. These individuals led a coalition of groups currently at odds with Konoha and Suna. Among them sat Orochimaru, once a respected Sannin of the Leaf. Behind him stood Kabuto and Guren, a young woman with striking blue hair and a unique crystal-based ability thought to be a rare genetic trait. Guren was known for her impressive talents and was one of Orochimaru's most trusted allies. While often confident and assertive, she was also deeply loyal, especially toward those who showed her kindness. Despite her tough exterior, she harbored a softer side that only a few knew. She cared deeply for her small circle of companions, although she frequently clashed with Kabuto, whom she found arrogant and overly analytical. Their verbal exchanges were well known among the group, often spirited but never crossing any inappropriate lines. Also seated at the table was the 4th Tsuchikage, Ryoku. He was a tall, well-built man who often wore the traditional Kage cloak and hat. He typically dressed without a shirt underneath, which highlighted his broad physique. Around his waist was a golden belt featuring the symbol of a bear's face in the center. His hair was black and shoulder length, with light streaks of gray near the temples, a few age lines on his face, and a neatly kept short beard. Ryoku was known for his strong belief in strength and perseverance. He often made decisions with firm resolve, leaning toward decisive action rather than long negotiations. His philosophy centered around the idea that strength builds leadership and survival, while weakness could hinder growth. He had once earned the title Ishi no Kyojin, Stone Giant, during the Third Great Shinobi War and was widely expected to become the next Tsuchikage. However, those plans changed after several strategic losses suffered by his forces during the war, particularly at the hands of Konoha's renowned shinobi, the Yellow Flash, Namikaze Minato, who would later become the 4th Hokage. These losses, combined with personal defeats in battle, resulted in Ryoku's removal from consideration for the Tsuchikage role. This series of events deeply impacted his view of Konoha, and he harbored strong resentment toward the village and everything associated with the Yellow Flash. Years later, with the support of longtime allies and trusted shinobi, Ryoku organized a peaceful transition of leadership by gaining enough influence over key areas of the village. He presented the 3rd Tsuchikage, Anaki, also known as Ryotenbin no Anaki, with a choice: retire and endorse Ryoku as the next Tsuchikage or face political pressure and instability in the village. Knowing the risks of internal conflict and considering the village was still recovering from prior hardships, Anaki chose to step down, allowing Ryoku to become the 4th Tsuchikage. Under Ryoku's leadership, Iwa experienced a focused strengthening of its military and infrastructure. He dedicated himself to restoring the village's influence and remained watchful for opportunities to regain Iwa's former prestige. After the attempted invasion of Konoha by Oto Gakure and Sunagakure failed, Ryoku briefly considered launching an offensive. However, upon learning that Konoha had re-established its alliance with Suna and that Tsunade had been appointed as the 5th Hokage, alongside the return of her powerful teammate, Jiraiya, he reconsidered. Understanding that Iwa alone could not stand against the combined strength of 2 major shinobi nations, he halted any further plans. Though he remained wary of alliances, he understood the importance of strategy over haste. Despite his personal mistrust, Ryoku chose to consider Orochimaru's offer to cooperate, knowing that if he wished to challenge Konoha in the future, cooperation with others might be necessary. Standing behind Ryoku were 2 of his most trusted shinobi. One was a talented kunoichi named Kurotsuchi, one of Iwa's most capable and promising young ninjas. The other was his son, Birugu, who shared many of his father's principles and ambitions. Like Ryoku, Birugu was strong, intelligent, and driven to elevate Iwa's status in the world. He wore the standard jonin attire of the village and carried a large sword strapped to his back. Seated nearby was the 5th Mizukage, Shio. He was a middle-aged man with long brown hair, dressed in blue armor with a black cape, presenting a noble yet commanding appearance. Known for his strict discipline and focus on military advancement, Shio believed strongly in strength and order. Though seen as stern, he valued loyalty and results above all else. Before becoming Mizukage, Shio had gained a reputation as a master of water release techniques. His skills were said to rival those of the 2nd Hokage, making him one of the most formidable water release users in the Hidden Mist Village. Only Hoshigaki Kisame was considered his equal in that field. Shio rose to power after the passing of the 4th Mizukage, Yagura, which came following a political transition in the village. As a high-ranking commander of Kiri's Hydra Division, a group similar to Anbu, Shio gained enough support to take on the role of Mizukage, especially with the endorsement of the ruling daimyo, who appreciated Shio's political alignment and administrative efficiency. After assuming leadership, Shio focused on expanding the village's resources into its military. While his policies led to strict living conditions, they also reinforced Kirigakura's reputation for strength and self-sufficiency. This shift caused unrest among various groups, leading to the formation of rebel factions. However, lacking coordination and resources, the resistance posed minimal threat. Supporting Shio were two trusted individuals. One was Izuragi Ryuta, the last remaining active member of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the Mist, and Shio's most loyal defender. The other was Udo Jinna, also known as Kurogasa or Black Hat for his distinct attire. He was an expert in stealth techniques and the commanding officer of the Hydra Division, known for his mastery of the Nikaido Hyo sword style. Udo Jinna was a tall, slender man with a narrow face and a calculating nature. He found great satisfaction in testing his strength against others, especially those he considered powerful. He thrived in competition and felt most alive when challenged by opponents who could truly push his abilities. Strategy, precision, and outmatching strong rivals brought him the greatest sense of accomplishment. Sitting next to Orochimaru was the leader of Kusagakur, Doku, a tall man with brown hair dressed in black shinobi gear and a yellow jacket. Doku was known as the most skilled ninja in his village, strong enough to face elite shinobi like Hatake Kakashi. His expertise in poisons, for which Kusagakur was widely known, made him a respected and formidable figure. Ambitious and politically savvy, Doku had long been determined to elevate Kusagakur to the status of a great shinobi nation. He was willing to form temporary alliances, even with former adversaries like Iwagakure, to achieve this dream. His 2 elite Jonin bodyguards stood silently behind him. Also at the table sat Shinrin, the leader of the Hanya clan. He was a middle-aged man with short dark brown hair, dressed in an outfit resembling that of the Anbu, with a long katana strapped to his back. During the Second Great Shinobi War, his clan had allied with smaller villages like Heat Haze Village and Sky Country, opposing the Hidden Leaf. The Hanya clan had hoped that in the aftermath of that conflict, they could rise and establish a powerful village of their own. However, following their defeat, the Hanya clan suffered significant losses. Danzo and his division played a major role in that outcome, and Shinrin's father had perished in the aftermath. Since then, Shinrin had carried a deep grudge and was determined to see his clan flourish and reclaim their former strength. He was a cautious and strategic thinker, preferring to operate from the shadows and only make a move when the advantage was clear. 2 of his clansmen, masked and similarly dressed, flanked him as silent sentinels. "Well, now that everyone is here, I believe we can begin our discussion," Orochimaru said with a calm smirk. "Agreed. What's the current status of Operation Burning Leaf?" asked Shinrin. "Roughly 50% of our forces are positioned. In a few more months, we'll be fully ready. Progress is a bit slow due to the need for secrecy. We can't risk Konoha or Suna catching on to our plans," Ryoku explained. Ku. No need to worry, Ryoku-kun. I've made sure my old teammate Jiraiya will remain distracted. Kabuto and I have created several false trails that he's busy following. Besides, he's currently preoccupied with helping Tsunade on another matter," Orochimaru replied, his smirk unshaken. Ryoku gave a curt nod. "How are things progressing with the development of the special poisons?" asked Shinrin. "They're on schedule," Doku answered confidently. "And what of your operations, Shio? Have you managed to affect the supply lines?" Ryoku inquired. "We've significantly reduced Konoha's sea-based supply routes by intercepting shipments and interfering with coastal ports along the Fire Country. Additionally, I've discreetly employed local mercenaries to disrupt trade with sea-based nations still willing to work with Konoha, without any ties back to us," Shio reported. "Excellent. Within a month or 2, Konoha's resources will be stretched thin, just in time for Operation Burning Leaf," Doku added. "How is the mission in the Wave Country progressing?" Shinrin asked. "Smoothly. My vanguard will be ready by next month. Once they secure the region, we'll establish a stronger presence and use it as a launch point for further operations," Shio responded. "That diversion will force Konoha to spread its forces, weakening their defensive positions," Doku noted. "Let's hope your shinobi can handle securing such a small country," Ryoku remarked, raising an eyebrow. "Are you implying my forces are lacking in skill?" Shio said, his tone sharpening. "I'm not implying anything, I'm simply stating facts," Ryoku retorted. "After all, we all heard about the incident 3 weeks ago at the Hold, the prison you used to proudly speak of. Kumo infiltrated it and freed the princess of the Sea Country along with several Leaf prisoners. And they helped many others escape before disabling the entire facility. Quite the embarrassment, wouldn't you say? Shio's eyes narrowed. And they did all of that with only 12 shinobi, while you had over 600 guarding the place. Not to mention you lost 6 of your ships afterward. It's clear your defenses weren't as effective as claimed, Ryoku continued. You dare question my village and its strength? Shio said, standing abruptly, his body tense with frustration. His bodyguards also moved, gripping their swords. Ryoku stood as well, joined by his son and another guard, ready to respond. Before the situation escalated, a powerful presence settled over the room. All eyes turned toward Orochimaru, who remained seated but had quietly projected a chilling authority that brought immediate silence. Though he was smiling, the seriousness in his gaze was unmistakable. He was displeased. Both leaders backed down, recognizing the warning. Gentlemen, please, we are all allies here, Orochimaru said smoothly, still wearing his ever-present smirk. There is no need for disagreement, especially when we share common goals. Our current concerns, Konoha and Suna, should unite us, not divide us. It would not benefit any of us to quarrel when we are so close to gaining the upper hand. Furthermore, I do not believe the Mizukage is to blame for the recent events. Kumo and the Heavenly Alliance caught everyone off guard with their advanced technology, those submarines, airships, fortress vessels, and their energy-based weaponry. In a way, their actions have indirectly helped us. Although Kiri faced a setback, so did Konoha, and that may hurt them more in the long run. Kumo's timely intervention, including rescuing both their own and Konoha's shinobi, has painted Konoha in a rather unflattering light. It's likely their reputation will suffer, leading to a decrease in client support. Let us remain calm and continue our discussion with civility. After a moment of hesitation, the two Kages signaled their guards to stand down and took their seats once more. They had understood the subtle caution in Orochimaru's words and knew better than to escalate the situation. Though neither feared Orochimaru outright, they were aware of his unpredictable capabilities and preferred not to test them, especially in a room full of powerful individuals. The Mizukage sat down with a quiet scowl, still troubled by the recent events involving the Raikage of Kumo, also known as the Thunder Sovereign and revered among his people as the Storm Guardian. Initially, the Mizukage had found the reports hard to believe, but upon confirmation, he demanded a full explanation from his commanders. He had expected a straightforward report, but the account only deepened his frustration. His irritation wasn't only due to strategic setbacks but the public embarrassment of having been outmaneuvered once again. Kumo will answer for this embarrassment, he thought, narrowing his eyes. Their Raikage has interfered in our affairs for too long. One day, he'll see the consequences of crossing me. While the Mizukage brooded over the situation, Orochimaru was thinking about it from a different perspective. When news of the attack first reached him, he too was surprised. His initial suspicion was that Kumo and the Heavenly Alliance had aligned with Konoha and Suna, which would have disrupted his strategies. But his agents in Konoha quickly clarified that this was not the case. The details of the assault on the location known as the Hold intrigued him. He found the technology used by Kumo fascinating, the airborne gliders, the energy cannons, and the impressive coordination. Most of all, he was curious about the mysterious Raikage, known not only for his leadership but also for his title as Sorai, the Blue Lightning. This individual was rumored to have defeated powerful rogue shinobi and was rapidly gaining a reputation as an elite strategist. The Heavenly Alliance is clearly more formidable than expected, Orochimaru mused to himself. The Raikage must have gone to great lengths to conceal these advancements, even Jiraiya's network missed them. Perhaps aligning with Kumo could shift the balance in our favor. Of course, Shio-kun may object, his dislike of the Raikage runs deep, but alliances can be restructured. Should Shio prove too stubborn, one of my own people could take his place in Kiri. Even so, the strength of the Heavenly Alliance alone would be more than enough to compensate. Their technology, their shinobi, and the strength of the 3 Jinchuriki they possess make them an asset worth securing. With that thought, Orochimaru turned back toward the Mizukage. So, Shio-kun, who have you chosen to lead the advance unit? He asked smoothly, shifting the conversation back to the meeting's agenda. My most trusted shinobi, Izuragi Ryuta, will lead the mission, Shio replied confidently. Ryuta gave a proud nod in response to the praise. Excellent, Orochimaru said. Then we look forward to hearing of your success in the upcoming operation. He then addressed the room, guiding the conversation to various strategic topics. After more than an hour of detailed discussion, Orochimaru stood to conclude the meeting. Gentlemen, I believe we've covered everything necessary for the time being. We should return to our villages and ensure our preparations continue smoothly. I will be in contact through our usual channels regarding the next phase of our operation. With those words, Orochimaru and the other leaders exited the meeting chamber, each returning to their respective territories. Once the room was empty, a shadowy figure, who had remained hidden in a dark corner throughout the discussion, silently slipped away, vanishing into the shadows. 1 month later, Konoha Council Room. A month had passed since the successful rescue of Kurenai, her team, and the Princess of the Land of the Sea. The Konoha Council, along with all senior Jonin, were once again summoned by Lady Tsunade for an urgent meeting. Once everyone had assembled, Tsunade addressed them without her usual pleasantries. "I'm afraid I have to get straight to the point," she said, her tone serious. "I've just received a report from Jiraiya regarding a significant development." "What exactly did he report?" asked Homura, curiosity evident in his voice. "Is it related to Kumo or the Heavenly Alliance?" Hana inquired. "Unfortunately, no," Tsunade replied, shaking her head. "Jiraiya hasn't been able to gather much information on either front. They've been incredibly secretive. He's decided to attempt entry into the Land of Lightning and Kumo itself to learn more." Her announcement drew concerned looks around the room. "Is that wise, Lady Hokage?" asked Shikaku. "Our last reconnaissance mission to that region ended poorly. If Jiraiya is discovered, we cannot guarantee the same leniency as before." "True," Tsunade acknowledged. "But Jiraiya is a master of stealth and information gathering. I trust in his abilities." Shibuya adjusted his glasses and spoke calmly. "Lady Hokage, I assume you called us here for more than an update on Jiraiya's movements?" "You're absolutely right, Shibi-san," Tsunade said. "The real reason for this meeting is that while seeking intelligence on the Heavenly Alliance, one of Jiraiya's contacts informed him that the Hidden Mist Village plans to move against the Land of Waves." Gasps echoed around the room. Some council members exchanged anxious glances. "Why does this concern us?" asked Councilman Asai Hada. "The Land of Waves is no longer our ally. They severed ties years ago." Tsunade's expression grew stern. "Because, Asai-san, if the Hidden Mist successfully gains control of that region, they will have a strategic position to threaten us. The Great Naruto Bridge connects directly to the Land of Fire. They could use it as a supply route and forward base for a future campaign against us. Even if they don't rebuild the bridge, their forces could be transported by sea. We cannot ignore this." "Then why don't we just demolish the bridge and deny them access?" suggested Danzo. "That would only delay them. Rebuilding is always an option, and once they do, they'll reinforce it. Worse, they could simply bypass the need for a bridge altogether by utilizing their naval capabilities," Tsunade replied. "The most viable path forward is to support the Land of Waves and prevent the invasion from succeeding." "That's a risky move," Homura countered. "We might overextend our forces." "Do we know the scale of the invasion force?" asked Inoiki. "According to Jiraiya's intel," Tsunade said, "Kiri is deploying a fleet of 20 ships and around 800 shinobi. They'll also be equipped with ranged weaponry for naval support." Koharu frowned thoughtfully. "To match that, we'd need at least 4 divisions. We can't afford to send that many. Perhaps Danzo's plan has merit." "No, it won't work," said Konohamaru firmly. "They could still establish a foothold with or without the bridge. Supporting the Land of Waves is our best option." "Even so," Koharu said, "we risk losing our most capable shinobi for a land that chose to distance itself from us. It's an emotional decision, not a strategic one." Danzo nodded. "Indeed, Hokage-sama. I believe this is being influenced by the personal connection the village once had to the Nine Tails host, Naruko, and the fact that her honorary memorial lies there." A sudden silence fell over the room. Mention of Naruko immediately heightened the emotional tension. She was deeply cherished by many and the subject of much respect and remembrance. The atmosphere turned heavy as Tsunade's gaze narrowed, her presence commanding the room. "Are you questioning my ability to lead this village, Danzo?" she asked coolly. "I remind you that any challenge to the authority of the Hokage is a serious matter." Danzo quickly offered a formal bow. "I apologize, Lady Hokage. That was not my intention." Tsunade's expression remained composed, though it was clear she was not convinced of his sincerity. An Anbu captain interjected, seeking to shift the conversation back to the mission. "Lady Hokage, do we have an estimate on when the fleet will arrive?" "Jiraiya estimates they'll depart in about 10 days. It should take another 5 to reach the Land of Waves," Tsunade replied, her tone returning to a more practical focus. "Do you already have a team in mind to be dispatched?" Hana asked. "I'd like to open the mission to volunteers first," Tsunade said. Those who wish to defend the land of waves may come forward. Without hesitation, several stood up. I volunteer, Hokage-sama. Let the flames of my youthful spirit shine, declared Lee energetically. I will also go, said Neji, calm and resolute in his Hyuga robes. You can count me and my team in, said Ten-Ten, standing beside her former teammates, dressed in gear that reflected her Anbu training and experience. The energy of youth is alive and well, exclaimed Guy proudly. I will join my students and support them with all my strength. You're not leaving me behind, said Kiba, patting his loyal companion Akamaru. The large dog barked in agreement, his ears perked. Tsunade nodded, visibly heartened by the response. The room, once tense, now carried a renewed sense of purpose and unity. Kiba wore a pair of black jeans paired with a mesh shirt underneath a sleeveless, high-collared jacket. A chain sash wrapped around his shoulders, securing the katana he carried on his back. He also had red fang-like markings tattooed on both arms. Akamaru had similar markings on his front legs and one beneath each eye. If possible, Hokage-sama, I would also like to participate in the mission, said Shino as he stood. Shino wore the traditional Aburame clan high-collared dark green trench coat, black shinobi trousers, and dark goggle-like sunglasses. Underneath, he had on a dark high-collared shirt and carried a satchel on his left side. He also wore fingerless gloves. This mission might be troublesome, but I'd like to be part of it, said Shikamaru, who wore the standard Jonin uniform. Hokage-sama, if you'll allow it, I would also like to join the mission, said Yamato, also known as Tenzo, rising to stand with the others. Well, if Shikamaru's going, then count me in too. I've got something I need to settle with those from Kiri, said Choji as he stood beside Shikamaru. If you two are going, then I'm coming along as well. Someone needs to make sure you both return to your families, stated Ino as she rose. Ino wore a similar two-piece purple outfit from her younger days, now paired with a sky blue scarf and an open Jonin flak jacket. If Ino-chan is going, then so am I, said Sai, standing next to his wife. Sai's outfit had only changed slightly from his younger days, now with slightly longer hair and two short tantos strapped to his back. Hokage-sama, with your permission, I too would like to participate in this mission, said Kurenai, joining the group. Hokage-sama, I also wish to volunteer for this mission. I believe my familiarity with the region and its people from past assignments could be valuable, said Kakashi as he stood. Perhaps, by helping defend Nami no Kuni, I can show my respect and offer some form of atonement for my past shortcomings toward Naruko, Kakashi thought quietly, a somber look in his eyes. Hokage-sama, I'd also like to join this mission. Like Kakashi-sensei, I know the area and the people well, and that insight could be useful, said Sakura as she stood confidently. I'm in, too, stated Konohamaru, immediately followed by Udon and Moegi, who also stood and voiced their commitment. Udon had grown into a tall young man, donning the standard Jonin uniform with his hair tied into a short ponytail. Moegi wore a fitted Chinese-style tunic with pink shinobi pants, her hair styled into long pigtails reaching her lower back. Hokage-sama, if permitted, I would also like to volunteer for the mission to protect Nami no Kuni, said Hinata, rising from her place at the council table. This prompted surprised reactions, as both the leaders of the Sarutobi and Hyuga clans, along with 3 other prominent clan heirs, had chosen to volunteer. Hinata-sama, surely your talents would be better used defending the village, said Ashikaga Shin. I meant what I said. If the Hokage approves, I will go. This council has no authority over my decision, as I am still an active shinobi. The final say belongs to the Hokage, Hinata responded firmly. Tsunade had remained silent throughout the discussion, her expression unreadable. Internally, however, she was quietly satisfied. Each person she had considered for the mission had volunteered, which meant that opponents like Koharu, Danzo, and the civilian council couldn't argue against deploying so many elite shinobi. If she had ordered them, opposition would have been immediate and unproductive. But as volunteers, no objections could stand. Very well, Tsunade said. I will allow all of you to join the mission. You will depart tomorrow morning. However, I want to be clear, if the situation becomes overwhelmingly difficult or turns against you, you are to withdraw and return to the village. Your safety is a priority. Konoha needs every one of its shinobi to endure this conflict. Everyone nodded in agreement, acknowledging the importance of their survival. If there's nothing else, this meeting is concluded, Tsunade stated, and with that, everyone began to leave, discussing the mission as they exited. Ninja Unit, Bolt Anbu. Purpose, To neutralize any and all threats to Kumagakure and the Heavenly Alliance, as well as infiltrate enemy bases and strongholds to gather intelligence or eliminate a target. Uniform: a red porcelain animal mask with black markings and shapes to hide their identities and distinguish them from regular shinobi. Black and gray armor, arm guards, and a signature red lightning bolt on their right arm, for women, or left arm, for men. Weapons: standard ninja weapons, including katanas carried on their backs, along with crossbows and longbows. Missions: only B, A, and S rank missions are assigned to Bolt members. Abilities: all Bolt members are highly trained in the art of assassination, similar to the Storm Onbu, and are skilled in the blind assassin art of fighting. They are also trained to use the wing gliders of the Skyhawk ninjas, though their proficiency in flying is not as advanced as the Skyhawk ninjas or Storm division. Like all Onbu divisions, Bolt members are trained in a variety of fighting styles and jutsu, including genjutsu, taijutsu, ninjutsu, kenjutsu, and fuinjutsu. Additionally, they are experts in tracking, surveillance, and infiltration, with a deep understanding of the human body to effectively eliminate targets. Bolt members also excel in teamwork and conduct daily training to ensure their cooperation is seamless. History: the Bolt division was created by the Raikage as a specialized force for assassination and infiltration missions. The division was established to eliminate corrupt lords and high-ranking political figures within Kumagakure and the surrounding regions. They were also tasked with rooting out corruption within the Heavenly Alliance and its allied countries. The Bolt division grew from the former assassination division of Kumo, with many members being former members of that group. The division works closely with the Sin division, where Sin provides vital intelligence, and Bolt conducts missions to gather further intel or eliminate targets. The Bolt division has a remarkable 95% success rate in completing assassination missions, rivaling the Konoha assassination division, which boasts a 98% success rate under their chief commander, Mikumo Tenten. The Bolt division is known for its persistence, always ensuring that a mission is completed successfully, and they will continue until their target is neutralized or they have completed the task. Training: the training program for Bolt members is grueling and designed to prepare them for the physical and mental stresses of their missions. Trainees undergo extensive preparation in reconnaissance, infiltration, ambushes, raids, and stealthy movement to ensure they can accomplish any task, regardless of the circumstances. Their training schedule is intense, with an average of 20 hours of training per day, consuming 2 or fewer meals and getting only about 3.5 hours of sleep. Bolt members carry 65 to 90 pounds of weight and run more than 200 miles during the course, increasing the weight as they progress. This builds their stamina, strength, and speed. They also undergo specialized training in marksmanship, poisons, and understanding human anatomy. The training also includes proficiency in genjutsu, taijutsu, ninjutsu, kenjutsu, and fuinjutsu. Teamwork is emphasized throughout the training, with squads evaluated at the end of each phase. If any squad tries to manipulate the evaluation process, all members of that squad may be dropped from the course for violating the honor code. At the end of their training, Bolt members undergo a final live-fire field training exercise, where they must infiltrate a castle or base, neutralize or capture a target, and escape undetected. Failure to complete the exercise successfully results in a repeat of the training or withdrawal from the course. 1. Uzumaki Naruko, the Rakudaime Raikage aka the Raiden no Kami, Goddess of Thunder and Lightning, aka Sorai, Blue Lightning, aka the Arashi no Oni, Demon of Storms, Denku, Lightning Age, 22. Position: Kage, leader of Kumagakure, and leader of the shinobi section of the Heavenly Alliance, wife to the daimyo of Kaminari no Kuni, Lightning Country. Kekkei Genkai, dual bloodline holder Ranveer Ka limit, Stormbreaker limit, and the Shinju Kokai, body renewal. Info: former Jinan of Konoha and current Jinchuriki of the Kyubi no Yoko, nine-tailed fox, only child of Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Kushina, and the last remaining pure-blooded member of the main branch of the Uzumaki clan, known as the Stormcallers. Naruko became the Rakudaime Raikage and the current leader of the shinobi branch of the Heavenly Alliance. She was once a student of Hatake Kakashi, Jiraiya the Toad Sage, Akechi Mitsuhide of Kirigakure, Miyoshi Sayuri of Kirigakure, Juga Liang, and Yue Ying. After her banishment from Konoha due to being considered a threat, Naruko met her teachers, Mitsuhide and Sayuri, along with her soon-to-be best friend and friendly rival, Seiwa Anaisu. Over the years, she trained with Juga Liang and Yue Ying, where she later traveled the elemental continent and came to Kaminari no Kuni, Lightning Country, where she helped the rebel factions win the civil war and became the Rakudaime Raikage. She later rebuilt the country, founded New Kumo, and formed the Heavenly Alliance. 2. Uzumaki Satake Kiko aka Ujakucho, Death Butterfly age, 24. Position, Daimyo of Kaminari no Kuni, leader of the nation section of the Heavenly Alliance, and wife of the Rakudaime Raikage, Naruko. Kekkei Genkai, Nun. Info, daughter of the former daimyo of Kaminari no Kuni, Satake Dosan. She survived the assassination of her family thanks to her sensei, now Masa Katsumoto, and lived secretly with his clan. Her identity was later discovered by Naruko, who, at the time, was known as Denku. With Naruko's help, Kiko defeated her uncle, Satake Yoshiaki, and became daimyo of Kaminari no Kuni. She appointed Naruko as the Rakudaime Raikage of New Kumagakure and married her in hopes of uniting the people as a symbol of unity. 3. Juga Liang aka Nimurayu, Sleeping Dragon age, 48. Position, Prime Minister of Kaminari no Kuni, head of the Council of New Kumo, and advisor to both Lady Daimyo Kiko and the Rakudaime Raikage, Naruko. Kekkei Genkai, Nun. Info, famed Ronin ninja, master strategist, jutsu master, genjutsu expert, and fujutsu master. He was the sensei of Naruko and Anaisu. Husband of Yue Ying, adopted father to Pimiko, and biological father of Yoshino. He joined the civil war in Kaminari no Kuni on the rebel side, after being convinced by his students, Anaisu and Naruko. Juga Liang was later made Prime Minister of Kaminari no Kuni and Daimyo's advisor by Lady Daimyo Kiko, as well as Raikage's advisor and head of the new Kumo Council by his student Naruko. 4. Seiwa Anaisu aka Kumo no Ashur Uu, Ice Dragon of Kumo, Kurosui no Kami, Goddess of Ice and Water age, 22. Position, Jonin Commander, personal military advisor to the Raikage, and second in command for all military matters. Kekkei Genkai, Hyotan. Info, the last surviving member of the Seiwa clan of Kirigakure, Anaisu was saved from bloodline hunters by his sensei Akechi Mitsuhide of Kirigakure and Miyoshi Seiyuri of Kirigakure. He became best friends and friendly rivals with Naruko, and they trained together under Juga Liang and Yue Ying. Anaisu later helped win the civil war in Kaminari no Kuni, defeating Joyu with the help of Gon Ning, and became Jonin commander and personal military advisor to Naruko after the war. 5. Akechi Mitsuhide aka Shirotakai no Kiri, Mist's White Death, aka Kumo no Shirataka, White Falcon of Cloud age, 35. Position, Co-Chief of Operations for all the shinobi forces. Kekkei Genkai, Hokai Gan, Hawkeye Info, the last surviving member of the Akechi clan, Mitsuhide was a former member of the Kiri no Shinobi Katana Nananin Shu, 7 Swordsmen of the Mist. Childhood friend and teammate of Miyoshi Seiyuri, he left Kirigakure after the Bloodline Crusade and became a missing nin. Mitsuhide saved Anaisu from bloodline hunters and made him his student, later becoming Naruko's teacher. After training, they all joined the civil war in Kaminari no Kuni and, after their victory, Mitsuhide became co-chief of operations. 6. Miyoshi Seiyuri aka Kiri no Shinkutakai, Crimson Death of Mist, aka Shinku Kiri no Kumo, Cloud's Crimson Mist age, 35. Position, Co-Chief of Operations for all the shinobi forces. Kekkei Genkai, Shidai Kiri Katai, the Mist Body Vapor Info, the last surviving member of the Miyoshi clan, Seiyuri was a former member of the Kiri no Shinobi Katana Nananin Shu, 7 Swordsmen of the Mist. She left Kirigakure after the Bloodline Crusade and became a missing nin, helping Mitsuhide save Anaisu. Seiyuri became Naruko's teacher and later brought both her and Anaisu to Juga Liang for training. After the Civil War, she became co-chief of operations for all the shinobi forces. 7. Shihoin Yoruichi aka Kasaku Ijin, Speed Mistress age, 34. Position, Captain of Kumagakure Onbu Division Bolt, clan head of the Shihoin clan. Kekkei Genkai, Chenjuring, Changeling Info, head of the Shihoin clan, sensei of Soifan, and captain of Kumo's assassination division. She led one of the rebel factions against the Godaime Raikage and former daimyo of Kaminari no Kuni, Yoshiaki, during the Civil War. After the war, she became the leader of the new Kumo Bolt division and is married to Shihoin Urahara Kisuke, co-head of the Research and Development Department. 8. Uzumaki Soifan aka the Kumo no Suzumabachi, the Hornet of Cloud age, 24. Position, Captain of Kumagakure Onbu Division Shock. Kekkei Genkai, Nun. Info, former student of Shihoin Yoruichi, Soifan sided with her during the civil war against the Godaime Raikage and former daimyo of Kaminari no Kuni, Yoshiaki. After the war, she became the new leader of New Kumo's Shock Division and wife to the Rakudaime Raikage, Naruko. 9. Hayabusa Ryu. Age, 25. Position, Captain of Kumagakure Onbu Division Storm. Kekkei Genkai, none. Info, Ryu is the leader of the Hayabusa clan, which he inherited after his father, Hayabusa Ken, was killed in battle during the Civil War. Ryu later became the leader of the new Kumo Storm Division. He is married to Kasumi, the daughter of the Shiden clan head of the Mugen Tenshin clan, allies of his clan. 10. Yokai Masato. Age, 28. Position, Captain of Kumagakure Onbu Division Sind. Kekkei Genkai, unknown. Info, Masato was orphaned at a young age and became a test subject of Orochimaru, but escaped after seeing the horrors inflicted upon him. He later built a vast information network across the elemental continent and joined the rebel factions in Kaminari no Kuni during the Civil War. Masato helped heal Naruko when she was injured and hid her from her enemies, later joining the fight against the god Raikage and former daimyo Yoshiaki. After the war, he became the leader of New Kumo's Sin Division. 11. Joyu. Age, 36. Position, Supreme Commander of all Kaminari no Kuni naval forces. Kekkei Genkai, none. 1. Former naval commander under daimyo of Kaminari no Kuni Yoshiaki. Age unspecified. Position, former naval commander. Info, once a powerful naval commander serving daimyo Yoshiaki of Kaminari no Kuni during the Civil War, Naruko demonstrated exceptional leadership and naval tactics that nearly defeated the opposing factions. Despite the ultimate setback, she was pardoned and later promoted to the position of Supreme Commander of all Kaminari no Kuni's naval forces. 12. Sun Li, wife of Seiwa Naisu. Age, 22. Position, Commander of New Kumo's submarine fleet and underwater shinobi force Aqua. Info, born into the wealthy Sun merchant family, Sun Li became a skilled ninja despite her family's disapproval. She later joined the rebel faction during the Civil War and rose to become the commander of New Kumo's submarine fleet and underwater shinobi force, Aqua. 13. Gon Ning. Age, 32. Position, Commander of Kumo Fleet and clan head of the Ning clan. Info, initially from Kirigakure, Gon Ning led his clan through the turbulence of the Bloodline Crusade and later joined the rebel faction during the Kaminari no Kuni Civil War. He contributed significantly to the faction's success and became the commander of New Kumo's fleet after the war. 14. Lu Xun. Age, 20. Position, Commander of the Air Fleet of New Kumo and Kaminari no Kuni. Info, a former student of Joyu, Lu Xun originally sided with the enemy during the Civil War. However, after being forgiven, he became the commander of the air fleet in New Kumo and Kaminari no Kuni. 15. Hiki Kane. Age, 18. Position, Commander of Kumo Skyhawk Ninjas. Info, as the leader of the Skyhawk Ninjas, Hiki Kane earned her reputation during the Civil War by fighting valiantly for the rebel faction. She eventually became the leader of her division. 16. Retsu aka Chiyu no Megami, Goddess of Healing. Age, 47. Position, Head of New Kumo's Hospitals and Medical Nin Unit. Info, Retsu, a former student of Tsunade, traveled across the continent to enhance her medical knowledge. During the Civil War, she became a key healer, saving countless lives. Afterward, she became the head of New Kumo's medical facilities. 17. Zhao Yun aka Ryugen no Kumo, the Silver Dragon of Cloud. Age, 33. Position, Captain of Daimyo's Royal Guard and clan head of the Yun clan. Info, a skilled warrior and leader, Zhao Yun initially fought for the former daimyo of Kaminari no Kuni. After the Civil War, he became a key figure in New Kumo as the captain of the daimyo's Royal Guard. 18. Shihoin Urahara Kisuke. Age, 35. Position, Co-head of Research and Development Department. Info, after serving as the head of Kumagakure's Research and Development Department, Urahara Kisuke played an important role during the Civil War. After the conflict, he became a leader in New Kumo's technological advancement. 19. Yue Ying. Age, 45. Position, Co-head of Research and Development Department. Info, Yue Ying, the wife of Zhuge Liang, was a key strategist in the Civil War. After the conflict, she helped lead New Kumo's research initiatives, using her vast knowledge and skills to support the village's growth. 20. Shiden. Age, 50. Position, Clan head of the Mugen Tenshin clan. Info, as the head of the Mugen Tenshin clan, Shiden contributed greatly to the rebel faction during the Civil War. He later became an influential leader in New Kumo. 21. Kai Wengi aka the Kaze no Megami, Wind Goddess age, 38. Position, clan head of the Wengi clan and leader of the 5 elemental goddesses. Info, originally a Chunin of Suna, Kai Wengi left her village after facing threats. She later became the clan head of the Wengi clan and formed the 5 elemental goddesses group in New Kumo after the Civil War. 22. Kuchiki Byakuya. Age, 30. Position, clan head of the Kuchiki clan. Info, a skilled and dedicated leader, Kuchiki Byakuya led his clan through challenging times and eventually switched sides during the Civil War. His information played a crucial role in the success of the rebel faction. 23. Tatara Hamryo. Age, 21. Position, clan head of the Tatara clan. Info, after the tragic loss of his family during the Civil War, Tatara Hamryo helped lead his clan in the fight against the god Raikage. His clan later joined New Kumo as an official part of the village. 24. Yuki Nadia aka Rei, Ghost age, 26. Position, clan head of the Yuki clan. Info, Nadia, a survivor of dangerous experiments, was gifted with the power of the Juka no Iki, passing through spirit limit. After the Civil War, she led the formation of the Yuki clan, which became a vital part of New Kumo. 25. Ishida Ryukin. Age, 39. Position, clan head of the Ishida clan. Info, after enduring painful experimentation, Ishida Ryukin gained the ability to manipulate spirit power. He later formed the Ishida clan and contributed to the success of New Kumo. 26. Naomasa Katsumoto. Age, 66. Position, clan head of the Naomasa samurai clan. Info, a skilled samurai and protector of the daimyo, Katsumoto played an important role in protecting Lady Daimyo Kiko. He later continued his service as her personal bodyguard after the Civil War. 27. Kisaragi Goto. Age, 54. Position, clan head of the Kisaragi clan. Info, originally from Wadai, Goto Kisaragi's clan had to adapt and survive after being displaced. They later joined New Kumo, where they contributed to the rebuilding of the nation after the Civil War. 28. Uzumaki Saihei Okatsu. Age, 22. Position, bodyguard to the Rakudaime Raikage Uzumaki Naruko and her family. Info, a former outcast, Okatsu overcame many challenges, including the loss of her clan, and eventually became a trusted bodyguard for Naruko after saving her life during the Civil War. 29. Uzumaki Yatsuki ni Yugito. Age, 25. Position, bodyguard to the Rakudaime Raikage Uzumaki Naruko and her family. Info, as the current Jinchuriki of the two-tailed monster cat, Yugito was initially forced to side against her clan during the Civil War. However, after her freedom was restored by Naruko, she became a loyal protector and later married her. 30. Yatsuki Killer Bee. Age, 43. Position, bodyguard to the Raikage and clan head of the Yatsuki clan. Kekkei Genkai, none. Info, Killer Bee, the younger sibling of the late Yondaime Raikage and the child of the Sandaime Raikage, is the current Jinchuriki of the Hachibi no Kyogyu, 8-tailed giant ox, and the head of the Yatsuki clan. Through intense training, she mastered the full power of the Hachibi. Despite a difficult childhood, like all Jinchuriki, she eventually earned the respect and admiration of her people. During the Civil War, her clan fought against the Godaime Raikage, which led to her siding with the Godaime Raikage due to a curse seal placed upon her by the Godaime Raikage after she became Raikage. She was freed from this curse later in the Civil War by Naruko and Juga Liang. Afterward, she became the clan head of the Yatsuki clan and Naruko's bodyguard when Naruko became the Raikage. 31. Uzumaki Fu. Age, 23. Position, bodyguard to the Rakudaime Raikage, Uzumaki Naruko, and her wife. Kekkei Genkai, none. Info, Fu is the younger cousin of Shibuki, the current leader of Takigakur. After her village joined the Heavenly Alliance, Fu was sent to New Kumo as a kunoichi and one of Naruko's wives as a sign of trust and commitment. She later became one of Naruko's personal bodyguards. 32. Kurosaki Ichigo aka Ichigo Kuro no Ken, Ichigo of the Black Sword age, 18. Position, Jonin. Kekkei Genkai, none. Info, Ichigo fought with the rebel faction alongside her father during the Civil War. She later became one of New Kumo's top jonins and swordsmen, renowned for her speed and swordsmanship. 33. Ishida Uryu. Age, 18. Position, jonin and heir to the Ishida clan. Kekkei Genkai, Ryuryoku no Suju, manipulating spirit power info. Uryu, like others in her clan, was subjected to experiments by scientists loyal to the god Raikage to create new bloodlines. Unfortunately, her mother died during these experiments. After being freed, she joined the rebel factions to seek justice for those affected by such experiments. After the Civil War, she became a jonin and the second most powerful person in her clan, with her father as the strongest. 34. Himiko aka Hai no Megami, Fire Goddess. Age, 12. Position, Chunin, member of the Go Genso no Megami, the five elemental goddesses Kekkei Genkai, Nun. Info: Himiko was adopted by Zhuge Liang and Yue Ying when she was a baby, after surviving an attack on a merchant caravan. Raised alongside her adopted sister Yoshino, she became a skilled and powerful ninja. After Zhuge Liang's family joined New Kumo, Himiko became an official ninja, earning the rank of Chunin and joining the group of kunoichi called the Go Genso no Megami. 35. Yoshino aka Mizu no Megami, Goddess of Water. Age, 12. Position, Chunin, member of the Go Genso no Megami, the five elemental goddesses Kekkei Genkai, Nun. Info: Yoshino, the biological daughter of Zhuge Liang and Yue Ying, was raised alongside her adopted sister Himiko. Like her sister, Yoshino became powerful over time and befriended Naruko and Anshu during their training under her father. After Zhuge Liang's family joined New Kumo, Yoshino officially became a ninja of New Kumo and joined the Go Genso no Megami, where she earned the rank of Chunin. 36. Uzumaki Takara aka Takara no Raken, Takara of the Thunder Fist. Age, 22. Position, jonin, wife of the Rakudime Raikage, Uzumaki Naruko. Kekkei Genkai, Nun. Info: Takara, the daughter of two Kumo jonins, lost her father during a mission and later her mother during an attack by shinobi loyal to the god Raikage. After fleeing and joining the shinobi rebel factions, she trained hard and fought against the god Raikage's forces. After the Civil War, Takara officially joined New Kumo and became a jonin. She eventually married Naruko. 37. Uzumaki Taira aka Reiko no Megami, Goddess of Lightning. Age, 23. Position, jonin, member of the Go Genso no Megami, the five elemental goddesses, wife of the Rakudime Raikage, Uzumaki Naruko. Kekkei Genkai, Nun. Info: Taira, the adopted daughter of two Kumo jonins, became a skilled fighter after the tragic death of her adoptive parents. She joined the shinobi rebel factions and fought against the god Raikage. After the Civil War, she became a jonin and joined the Go Genso no Megami. Eventually, she married Naruko. 38. Shin Manuki aka Chi no Megami, Goddess of Earth. Age, 24. Position, jonin, member of the Go Genso no Megami, the five elemental goddesses Kekkei Genkai, Nun. Info: Uki, originally from Iwagakure, survived the attack that destroyed her family and was smuggled out of the country. After the Civil War, she joined New Kumo and became part of the Go Genso no Megami, offering her services in exchange for protection for herself and her blind sister. 39. Uzumaki Kisaragi Yuffie. Age, 19. Position, Chunin, clan heiress to the Kisaragi clan, wife of the Rakudime Raikage, Uzumaki Naruko. Kekkei Genkai, Nun. Info: Yuffie is the daughter of Goto, the head of the Kisaragi clan. After her homeland was taken over, her clan became wanderers. When the Civil War ended, her clan joined New Kumo and Yuffie became part of it. In order to solidify their clan status, she married Naruko. 40. Uzumaki Tatara Tomoe. Age, 21. Position, jonin, wife of the Rakudime Raikage, Uzumaki Naruko, member of the Hachiman force. Kekkei Genkai, Kotan, Steel Release. Info: Tomoe, originally from the Tatara clan, lost her family during the Civil War but later joined New Kumo. She became a jonin and eventually married Naruko to solidify the clan's place in New Kumo. 41. Hayabusa Kasumi. Age, 20. Position, jonin, member of the Hachiman force. Kekkei Genkai, Nun. Info: Kasumi comes from the Mugen Tenshin clan, known for their taijutsu and ninjutsu skills. She fought alongside the rebel factions during the Civil War. Afterward, she married her longtime love, Ryu, the head of the Hayabusa clan. 42. Uzumaki Ayane aka Josei Tengu, female Tengu age, 20. Position, Jonin, wife of the Raikage Raikage, Uzumaki Naruko, member of the Hachiman force. Kekkei Genkai, none. Info, Ayane, the half-sister of Kasumi, was treated as an outcast due to her tragic birth. Despite this, she proved herself a capable and gifted ninja. After the Civil War, she married Naruko to strengthen ties between her clan and New Kumo, eventually growing to care deeply for her. 43. Seiwa Isaribi, wife of Seiwa Naisu age, 22. Position, captain and second in command of the Aqua Division. Kekkei Genkai, Ningyo Henge, mermaid transformation info. Isaribi was kidnapped at a young age by a scientist working for Orochimaru named Amachi, who experimented on her to create powerful underwater humanoid fighters. She was used to attack ships and steal their cargo, which funded his research. Eventually, she was rescued by Naruko, Anaisu, and their senseis Mitsuhide and Sayuri and brought to Unohana Retsu for healing. After being cured, Isaribi could stay in her human form indefinitely, without any scales showing, though she could still transform into a kaima. Grateful for the care she received, Isaribi traveled with Retsu, becoming her assistant. After Naruko became Raikage, Isaribi joined New Kumo and later married Anaisu, who, like Naruko, had to marry multiple times due to being the last of his clan. Naruko later asked Isaribi to join Aqua, where her skills would be of great value, and she agreed, becoming Sun Li's second in command. 44. Uzumaki Is Nanao. Age, 24. Position, Jonin, secretary to the Raikage Raikage, Uzumaki Naruko, and her wife. Kekkei Genkai, none. Info, Nanao, born to a shinobi father and civilian mother, was uninterested in becoming a shinobi and preferred to read and help her mother, a researcher for Kumo's intelligence. When the Civil War started, her parents tried to flee the village, but her mother was tragically killed, and her father died protecting her. Nanao found sanctuary with a rebel faction, where she used her skills as a decoder to decode secret documents. After meeting Naruko and Anaisu during the war, Nanao trained under Naruko and eventually became an invaluable ally. After the war, she learned the lost art of Kami no Jutsu, paper technique, and married Naruko. 45. Seiwa Kako. Age, 20. Position, Jonin. Info, Kako grew up in a small village outside Kumo, where she dreamed of becoming a kunoichi. Along with her best friends, Saya and Seiko, she joined the Kumo Academy, where the three of them formed a powerful team. After becoming Chunin, the Civil War began. Kako and her friends sided with the Godheim Raikage, but eventually, Kako became disillusioned with him and defected to join the rebels. After the war, Kako married Anaisu. 46. Seiwa Saya. Age, 22. Position, Jonin. Info, Saya was an orphan from a small village outside Kumo, where she was cared for by the villagers after her parents died from illness. She aspired to be a kunoichi, and with her best friends Kako and Seiko, she joined the Kumo Academy. After the Civil War broke out, Saya sided with the Godheim Raikage, but later joined the rebels after being ordered to attack a village harboring rebel shinobi. During the war, Saya met and fell in love with Anaisu, whom she later married. 47. Seiwa Seiko. Age, 21. Position, Jonin. Info, Seiko, like her friends Kako and Saya, grew up in a small village outside Kumo. They all became a team at the Kumo Academy, training together under their sensei. After the Civil War began, Seiko remained loyal to the Godheim Raikage, but later joined the rebels when she could no longer fight against her childhood friends. During the war, she met and fell in love with Anaisu, and eventually married him after the war. 48. Uzumaki Yoshiko. Age, 8. Position, Jinan/daughter of the Raikage Raikage Uzumaki Naruko. Kekkei Genkai, none. Info, Yoshiko is the adopted daughter of the Raikage Raikage Uzumaki Naruko and the twin sister of Nene. They were born in a small village in Kaminari no Kuni, where their father was killed while trying to protect their grain supply. After their mother's death and the destruction of their village by the Godheim Raikage's forces, Naruko adopted Yoshiko and her sister, feeling guilty for the loss they endured. 49. Uzumaki Nene. Age, 8. Position, Jinan/daughter of the Raikage Raikage Uzumaki Naruko. Kekkei Genkai, none. Info, Nene is the adopted daughter of the Raikage Raikage Uzumaki Naruko and the twin sister of Yoshiko. After the loss of their parents and the destruction of their village by the god Raikage's forces, Naruko adopted them. Naruko took them in, driven by guilt over their family's tragedy. 50. Uzumaki Yami. Age, 12. Position, Jinan/daughter of the Rakudaime Raikage Uzumaki Naruko. Kekkei Genkai, Shinju Kokai, Body Renewal Info. Yami is the adopted daughter of the Rakudaime Raikage Uzumaki Naruko and the elder sister of Yoshiko and Nene. Taken from her home by forces loyal to the god Raikage, Yami's parents were killed during experiments to improve the shinobi. She was part of a super shinobi program where she received Naruko's healing bloodline. After the research facility was destroyed by Naruko and the rebels, Yami was adopted by Naruko. 2 days later at the Great Naruko Bridge. After 2 days of travel, the team sent to help defend Nami no Kuni, Wave Country, from the invasion by Kirigakure shinobi arrived at the Great Naruko Bridge. The group that was sent to defend the country consisted of 24 shinobi. Originally, only 21 shinobi were planned to be sent, but Danzo insisted on sending Sasuke and 2 of his root nins to assist as well, stating they would ensure that Kirigakure did not gain a foothold to attack Konohagakure. Sasuke wore a sleeveless high-collared black shirt with a small Uchiha crest on his collar, a black cloak over it, black pants, and bandages with arm guards on his wrists. He carried a Chokudo sword on his lower back. The other root nins wore standard Anbu outfits. Kakashi was made the commander of the group, given his seniority and previous experience leading the last shinobi team sent to Nami no Kuni. The group was divided into 7 different teams, with 3 teams consisting of 4 members each, while the other 4 teams were made up of 3 members each, with a team leader for every group. The teams were as follows. Team Kurenai, Hinata, Kiba, and Shino. Team Yamato, Konohamaru, Moegi, and Udon. Team Guy, Lee, and Neji. Team Kakashi, Sakura, and Sai. Team 1010, Wolf, Tiger, and Bird, the team that 1010 led in the Anbu division. Team Shikamaru, Ino, and Choji. Team Sasuke and 2 of Danzo's root nins, Badger and Boar. When they arrived at the Great Naruko Bridge, they saw a large stone monument at the front of the bridge, which read, "The Great Naruko Bridge." This bridge is dedicated to the hero of Wave, who helped its people regain their freedom and their courage. So they named the bridge after her. If you ask me, they wasted naming it after a fallen hero, scoffed Sasuke. Many of the others gave Sasuke angry glares, but he ignored them. As they began crossing the bridge, it didn't take them long to reach the other end, where they were met by 4 samurai and 20 armed men, who appeared to be militia. The samurai wore light blue heavy-plated armor with helmets and face masks. The leader of the samurai had a distinctive helmet with horns on either side. "Halt! Who goes there? Identify yourselves," called out the leader of the samurai team. "My name is Hatake Kakashi. I'm a shinobi of Konohagakure, as are my comrades here," Kakashi responded, stepping forward. "Konoha shinobi are not welcome here. I suggest you turn around and leave," said the leader of the samurai team. The other samurai and militia guards pointed their weapons at the group, clearly showing they were unwelcome. "Please, we mean your country no harm. We are here to help you, knowing that your country is about to be invaded by shinobi from Kirigakure. We only wish to assist," Hinata said, stepping forward. After a few moments, the leader of the samurai team sheathed his katana and signaled for the others to lower their weapons, though reluctantly. He then called one of the militia guards over, whispered to him for a moment, and after a brief exchange, the man ran off toward the village. "You will wait here until he returns," the leader said firmly. Kakashi and the others nodded in understanding. After a few more minutes, the man returned, accompanied by 20 more samurai and about 50 militia men, all armed with swords, spears, axes, and other weapons. "You will come with us to our captain's tent. My men and I will escort you. Should you try anything, you will be detained immediately. Is that clear?" the leader of the samurai group ordered with authority. "We understand," Kakashi replied. While he doubted the militia men could harm them, the samurai were another matter. Kakashi had limited experience with samurai but knew their fighting prowess made them formidable opponents. Soon, they reached the camp, where many more armed men were stationed. The group noticed many of the militia men glaring at them, especially upon seeing the leaf symbols on their headbands. "I guess the people here are still angry at us for what happened to Naruko," Sakura thought sadly. She didn't blame them, knowing that Konoha had failed Naruko during her life and that the circumstances leading to her passing were a heavy burden on the village. The group arrived at a large tent that stood out from the others. This was the commander's tent. "You will wait here," the samurai leader ordered before entering the tent. After a moment, the leader emerged, followed by another samurai who wore similar heavy-plated armor. His armor was dark navy blue with gold trim, setting him apart from the rest. He also wore a black cloak that reached down to his knees. "I'm the commander of Wave Defense Forces and the captain of the Samurai of Wave. What are you Konoha shinobi doing here? We made it clear 10 years ago that none of you were welcome in our country," the samurai captain stated sternly. "We're not here to cause trouble, Captain. We are here to help defend your country, knowing that an invasion force from Kirigakura will arrive soon," Kakashi explained. "More like helping yourselves," the captain retorted, causing confused looks from several of the Konoha shinobi. "We are not simple-minded," the captain continued, his voice sharp. "We know about your wars with Oto, Iwa, Kiri, Kuza, and the Hanya clan. We know that the reason Kiri is invading us is because our country is a prime location for launching attacks against your village. The only reason we're being invaded is because of Konoha's actions." Kakashi tried to soften the situation. "Captain, please, that's a bit unfair." "Unfair?" the captain shouted, his voice rising with anger. "How is it fair that full-grown men and women attack an innocent child for things that happened before they were even born? How is it fair that children were taught to pick on and make fun of that child, and were rewarded for it? How is it fair that a loyal young ninja, a hero to our country and several others, was banished from her village simply for accomplishing her mission and for using a power she was forced into when she was born? You speak of fairness, but your village is just as guilty of throwing away its shinobi as any other." The captain's cold words hung heavily in the air as he glared at the Konoha group. Many of the Konoha nins winced, with the exception of Sasuke and the root ninjas, who remained indifferent, as well as Sai, who had not interacted with Naruko or knew her well. "No, I am mistaken," the captain spoke again. "Konoha is worse than those other villages because at least those villages are honest about their shortcomings. Konoha hides behind a veil of nobility and presents a facade of treating everyone like family and friends. But in the end, they are no better than the worst kind of people when it comes to how they treated certain individuals, like our hero Naruko." At this, many members of the group could not help but lower their heads in shame at the cold and harsh truth of the captain's words. Kakashi, still with his head lowered in shame, then spoke up. "Although it's true that our village has greatly embarrassed itself in recent years, and that we are here to protect your country for the reasons you mentioned, it doesn't change the fact that we are here to help you. We do not want your help from you or your village. Now leave," the captain began, but before he could finish, another voice echoed from inside the tent. "That's enough." With that, another man emerged from the tent. Kakashi, Sakura, and Sasuke immediately recognized the man as Tazuna, the elderly bridge builder they had protected during their mission in Nami no Kuni. Despite his slightly aged appearance, with more wrinkles, Tazuna still looked the same as when they last saw him. "Why? What I said is true after all. We've heard everything about what they did, as well as how they treated Naruko," the samurai captain spoke angrily. "True, but not all of them were unreasonable," Tazuna responded calmly. "Remember, the Kazekage told us that not everyone treated Naruko badly. There were still those who supported her and did not turn their backs on her. Don't let your anger cloud your judgment. Besides, most of the people in this group were among the minority that stood by her." Ino, Sakura, and Kakashi lowered their heads, as they knew they weren't among that minority, remembering the way they had once treated Naruko. "Now, take off your helmet." "There's no need to wear it," Tazuna added to the samurai captain. The captain sighed in frustration but complied. As he removed his helmet, the Konoha group was surprised to see that the captain was a young man, about 18 years old. His black shoulder-length hair and dark eyes made it clear he was strong and skilled. Achieving the rank of captain at such a young age was rare, indicating that he was quite capable. However, Kakashi, Sakura, and Sasuke were even more surprised when they recognized him. "Inari?" Sakura exclaimed in surprise. The young man nodded. "You're the commander of the defense forces here?" Sakura asked in disbelief. It was hard for her to believe that the small boy who once cried about the hopelessness of their situation and feared they would all be killed by Gato was now the commander of the Wave Defense Forces and leader of the samurai in Wave. "Yes, I am," Inari answered neutrally. "Well, now, isn't this an interesting turn of events? If I may ask, when did you become a samurai, and when did you make captain?" Kakashi asked, smiling warmly, hoping to keep the conversation going. The more they talked, the better their chances of convincing them to accept their help. Kakashi knew that Wave had little chance against the Kirigakura invasion force on their own, and if Kiri took over, it would mean the end for Konoha as well. When I was 10, I decided I wanted to protect my family and people, just like Naruko did, Inari explained. This caused some confusion among the Konoha members until Sakura clarified that Naruko had been like an older sister figure to Inari, but since there were no shinobi villages in our country, I decided to become a samurai. My grandfather went to our daimyo and asked him to send me, along with other selected individuals, to be trained as samurai. The daimyo owed my grandfather for building the bridge and helping save our country, so he agreed. I spent the next 5 years training in Tetsu no Kuni to become a samurai so I could defend everyone in Nami no Kuni, just like Naruko would have. When I returned, I spent the next 3 years working and training to become captain and lead the daimyo's samurai guard. Kakashi nodded, impressed by Inari's dedication and hard work. Just like Naruko, huh? Kakashi thought sadly to himself. Now, about your offer of help. Tazuna began, but Inari cut him off. Grandfather, can I speak with you privately? Inari asked calmly. Tazuna nodded, knowing what the conversation would be about, and entered the tent with his grandson. Inside the command tent. Grandfather, you can't seriously be considering accepting their help, Inari whispered harshly. I am, Tazuna replied firmly. But how can we trust them after what they've done? Who's to say that when things get tough, they won't abandon us and leave the bridge to be destroyed, leaving us to be slaughtered? It wouldn't be the first time that Konoha has turned its back on someone for selfish reasons, Inari argued. We need to trust them. We need their help, Tazuna insisted. We can fight for ourselves. My men and I, along with the other volunteers, will fight them off, Inari countered. Inari, stop deluding yourself. While you and your men can hold your own against shinobi, especially when you fight together, there aren't enough of you. We're outnumbered, and most of the men are militia, they won't stand a chance against shinobi, Tazuna explained. But what about the message we sent to them? Surely they'll come after what we offered, Inari replied. We don't know that they will come, and even if they do, they might not arrive in time. Suna can't help us either, they're too far away and caught up in their own war against Konoha's enemies. We need all the help we can get if we want to win this fight, Tazuna said. But what about what they did to Naruko? How can we simply forget how they banished her and sent her out to die? Inari said angrily. Then you will have to convince the others to set aside their anger toward them, at least for now. Remember, most of the people in that group were against Naruko's banishment, Tazuna replied. But what about Hatake, Uchiha, and Haruno? They're just as guilty as the others back in that village for what they did, Inari countered. Inari, I know how you feel. I don't want them here any more than you do. If this were any other time, I would be the first to tell them to leave. But right now, we need their help. With them here, we have a better chance of winning this fight than without them. We have to look beyond our hate and do what's best for our people, Tazuna said earnestly. Inari sighed, knowing his grandfather was right, even though he still didn't like it. Fine, but there will be conditions they must agree to, Inari said. Tazuna nodded, and the two began to discuss the terms. Outside the command tent. After a few minutes, both Inari and Tazuna emerged from the tent. Hatake-san, is that offer still available? Tazuna asked. Kakashi nodded, and Tazuna continued, then we would like to accept your help in defending our country. The murmuring among the men grew louder, but Inari silenced them with a command. Very well, my people and I will start setting up our camp just outside yours, Kakashi said. Fine, but there are conditions that must be met if you are to fight alongside us, Inari added. Such as? Kakashi asked. You and your people are not allowed to go near the bridge by yourselves, Inari spoke with authority. As long as you and your people are here, your teams will have to answer to me or one of my lieutenants and follow any instructions they are given. If they do not comply, you and your people will be asked to leave our country. Another thing, you must inform me of all plans regarding the defense of Nami no Kuni, and in return, we will share our plans with you. At this, Sasuke decided to express his opinion. We came here to help defend your country, and you think that because you are in charge of this group of militia and samurai, you can boss us around like everyone else? You have some nerve to say that, kid. We never asked for your help, Uchiha. You came to us. And frankly, even if we had asked for your assistance, we would have made it clear that we didn't want you here. So if you wish to leave, feel free, we won't stop you, and in fact, we'd be more than happy to help you on your way. If you have an issue with taking orders from me, then leave. But if not, Kindly keep quiet and do as you're told, Inari responded firmly. Many of the Konoha nin smirked as they observed Sasuke being handled so easily by Inari. They were impressed by Inari's ability to take charge and put Sasuke in his place. Sasuke scowled and was about to retort when Kakashi intervened, recognizing the growing tension and the possibility of an altercation. The last thing they needed was a confrontation. Very well, Captain Inari. However, I would appreciate it if you could go over the duties you plan to assign my people before directing them to do anything. That way, we can work together more efficiently, and I can manage the allocation of tasks. Additionally, if there is an issue with one of my team members, please report it to me, and I will handle the situation accordingly, Kakashi said, glancing at Sasuke at the last part. Sasuke merely looked away, uninterested. Fine, but if I'm not satisfied with the punishment, I'll administer it myself. Is that agreeable? Inari asked. That will be acceptable, within reason, of course, Kakashi replied. Agreed. Now, if possible, some of my men could use help setting up traps around the village to defend against the Kiri nin. I believe shinobi traps would be particularly effective. We also need assistance with fortifying the defenses within the village itself, Inari added. Of course, Kakashi responded, then turned to Tenten. Tenten, could you have your team go to the forest near the village and set up some traps? Also, lay a few around other key areas. Tenten nodded, directing her team to begin their task, while she remained with Kakashi. Kakashi then turned to Sakura. Sakura, I'd like you, Moigi, Ino, and Udon to set up camp for the rest of us outside the main camp. Sakura and the others nodded and headed off to prepare. Kakashi turned to Neji. Neji, I'd like you, Choji, Lee, and Konohamaru to assist with the village defenses. All four responded with a determined hi and left. Finally, Kakashi turned to Hinata and her old teammates. Hinata, I'd like you, Shino, Kiba, and Akamaru to scout the terrain around the village. Look for any Kiri scouts or advance teams, just in case they've sent anyone ahead of the main force. Also, try to identify any other locations we could use for traps or defensive purposes. The group agreed, and with a bark from Akamaru, they set off on their mission. Kakashi then addressed Sasuke. Sasuke, I want your team to assist Tenten's team with laying traps around the village. Sasuke's eyes narrowed slightly, not pleased with being assigned tasks, but he accepted the order and directed his team to carry out the task. With the teams assigned, Inari invited the team leaders into the command tent to discuss the defense of Nami no Kuni. Inside the command tent. Once inside, Inari began explaining the setup of the defense forces. We have additional forces stationed in small forts and bases around the country. This is our main force, as the bridge is critical to the entire region. We believe that the Kiri invasion force will land near the village, so securing the bridge is our top priority. If we control the bridge, we'll also control the main escape route out of the country, giving us an advantage. Inari went on to explain the layout of the defenses and how his forces were stationed. The Konoha team leaders were impressed by the preparations, and many were surprised at how well organized Nami no Kuni's forces were, even without the assistance of the shinobi. Shikamaru, always thinking strategically, offered some suggestions to improve the village defenses, which Inari readily agreed to. So, how many men do you have here? Shikamaru asked. We have 300 militia members and about 70 samurai stationed here, answered Tazuna. That's it? Kurenai asked, surprised. I'm afraid so. Nami no Kuni doesn't have a standing army, only the samurai who guard the daimyo's palace. Even then, there are only about 100 of them. Inari convinced the daimyo to send most of the palace guards to help defend the country. We've gathered about 1,200 men, scattered across various small bases and forts. If Kiri doesn't invade here, we can still get early warnings from other areas and prepare to defend ourselves. We also have 300 former hunters and trappers stationed in hidden cells around the country, ready to harass the invaders if Nami no Kuni falls. They will use guerrilla tactics to disrupt the enemy's supply lines. Shikamaru nodded in approval, impressed with the preparation. What about the women, children, and elderly? Yamato asked. And your daimyo? Our daimyo arranged for our people to seek refuge in Enkai no Kuni, a large island nation south of Kaminari no Kuni. The ruler there has agreed to take us in. We've also sent 200 militia men and 30 samurai to protect them on the journey, Tazuna explained. Although that was a wise decision, it doesn't change the fact that we're at a disadvantage, Shikamaru said, his expression serious. Even with our combined forces, we have fewer than 400 defenders here, while Kiri's forces are much larger. Many of their shinobi will likely have kunai launchers, which will make direct engagement in the village challenging. Fighting in the open would be disastrous, as they could easily surround us. We'll do our best to outsmart them when they arrive, Inari said, determination in his voice. After Inari's explanation, Tenten raised a question she had been wondering about for some time. Kazuna-san, there's something I've been curious about, Tenten asked. How did you and your people learn about the invasion so much earlier than we did? We found out when one of our fishermen went to Mizu no Kuni to sell his catch. While there, he overheard a group of sailors from Kiri talking about the invasion. Another fisherman also spotted a fleet of warships being loaded with troops and equipment in Mizu no Kuni, Tazuna explained. I see. Thank you for sharing that information, Tenten replied, nodding. Now, let's focus on preparing for the defense against the Kiri forces, Kakashi said, and the team leaders agreed, leaving the tent to begin their preparations. Timeskip. It had been 8 days since the Konoha group arrived, during which they all contributed to setting up traps and fortifying the village's defenses. Yamato had used his Makuten, wood element, ability to create large wooden walls around the village. Shikamaru had helped plan the different defensive positions for the villagers and the Konoha team. Neji, Shino, and Hinata took turns keeping watch on the shore for the arrival of any Kiri warships, in case the fleet arrived earlier than expected, or if Kiri sent an advance party to weaken Nami no Kuni's defenses. Tenten and her team, along with Sasuke and his team, helped set up more traps around the village to confuse and weaken the Kiri ninjas when they arrived. Kiba and Akamaru did patrols around the camp, the village, and the nearby forest to ensure no Kiri spies slipped past Neji, Hinata, or Shino. Sakura set up a small medical center in preparation for any wounded who might need care when the battle began. As for the rest of the group, each of them helped in their own way, but despite their efforts, the Konoha team still received angry glares and resentful stares from the villagers. It was clear that, even after Inari had spoken with the men and helped them agree to work with the Konoha ninjas, the animosity many of them felt was difficult to overcome. The group had started to understand what it must have been like for Naruko when she was growing up. Though their experience wasn't even a fraction of what Naruko endured, it gave them a small glimpse into her challenges. On the 8th day of their stay in Nami no Kuni, Hinata decided to approach Inari to discuss something she had been thinking about for several days. Excuse me, Inari Shire, Hinata said as she approached. Yes, Hyuga-san, Inari responded. I was wondering if I could speak to you about something private? Hinata asked politely. Inari nodded and led her to his tent, where they both sat down. Now, Hyuga-san, what is it that you wish to speak to me about? Inari inquired. Hinata hesitated for a moment, then spoke. I was hoping, Inari Shire, that you could tell me where Naruko's gravesite is. At this, Inari's expression darkened slightly. Why do you want to know where her gravesite is? If any of the Konoha ninjas intend to desecrate her resting place, Inari began, but before he could finish, Hinata released a powerful burst of killing intent. The air around her seemed to crackle with a dark energy, and when Inari met her intense lavender gaze, he felt a cold shiver run down his spine. Her eyes radiated an unwavering and fierce determination. It was as if she were staring into the very soul of anyone who dared to stand in her way. It took every ounce of courage Inari had to avoid flinching or faltering under her gaze. Hinata's reputation as a fearsome warrior was well known, and her presence was overwhelming. After a few moments, Hinata's voice broke the silence. Her tone was chilling. For that insult alone, I would punish anyone who dared harm her resting place, Inari-san. I would never desecrate the gravesite of the only person I ever truly loved, and I would not hesitate to stop anyone who would. The cold aura she exuded began to fade, though the intensity of her words lingered. Inari, breathing a silent sigh of relief, said, I apologize, Hinata-sama, for my harsh words. I sometimes let my anger cloud my judgment. I know you and many of your comrades were close to Naruko and opposed her banishment. It's just that when I see the Konoha headband, my anger takes control of me, and I lash out. I accept your apology, Inari Shire, Hinata replied with understanding. I understand your pain, but I offer you a piece of advice. It is important to learn how to manage your anger, especially toward those who may not have been responsible for the actions that hurt you. There were many in Konoha who opposed Naruko's banishment. If you let your anger control you, you risk becoming as harmful as those who wronged her. Inari nodded thoughtfully. Wise words, Hinata-sama. I will try to follow them. Now, Inari Shire, as I was asking earlier, could you tell me where Naruko's gravesite is? Hinata asked once more. Inari closed his eyes in deep contemplation. After a moment of silence, he finally sighed and spoke. What you ask is not an easy thing for me to share, and if my men found out, there would be much uproar. However, I will allow it. A small smile graced Hinata's face. Thank you, Inari Shire. You have no idea how much this means to me. Before Hinata could ask further, Inari interrupted. But there is a condition. Hinata's expression turned serious. What condition? Before I tell you, am I correct in assuming that if I give you this information, other members of your team would want to accompany you to pay their respects? Inari asked. Hinata nodded, understanding that others, excluding Sasuke and his team, would likely wish to visit as well. The conditions are simple, Inari continued. First, when you visit the gravesite, you will be escorted by 20 of my samurai. Second, when you are taken to the gravesite, you will be blindfolded and given a special drug that keeps you from using your chakra. This is necessary because, while I trust you and certain members of your team, I cannot extend that trust to everyone. In addition, he continued, I must also insist that certain individuals from your team, specifically Uchiha Sasuke, Hatake Kakashi, Haruno Sakura, Yamanaka Ino, and the 2 shinobi who follow Sasuke, not be allowed to visit the gravesite. Each of them had some part in Naruko's suffering, and for that reason, they are not permitted to pay their respects. Hinata was silent for a moment, reflecting on Inari's words. She knew this would not be easy for her comrades to accept, but she understood that these were the only terms under which she would be able to visit Naruko's final resting place. Very well, Inari Shire, she said at last. I will agree to your terms, though I cannot promise that everyone will accept them. I will inform my comrades of the conditions. That is acceptable. However, please inform them that if they do not agree to the conditions, they will not be permitted to proceed. Should they attempt to follow or force their way in, my samurai are authorized to stop and restrain them, understood, Hinata-sama? Said Inari firmly. Yes, Inari Shire. I shall ensure they are informed. Thank you again for granting me the opportunity to visit Naruko-chan's memorial, replied Hinata with a respectful bow, which Inari courteously returned. After Hinata left, Inari released a heavy sigh of relief. Only one thought crossed his mind. I need a drink. He walked over to a private cabinet, opened a hidden drawer, and took out a bottle of sake. Pouring some into a small dish, he drank it in a single gulp to calm his nerves after the conversation with Hyuga Hinata, also known as the Hyuga clan's goddess of grace. The next day, at the break of dawn, Inari and 20 samurai departed from the Nami no Kuni Defense Force camp. Inari had personally chosen his most trusted and skilled samurai to ensure loyalty and capability should any situation arise. Once assembled, Inari explained the mission clearly. Though none were thrilled about the conditions, they were committed to following orders as honorable samurai. They did not have to wait long. Soon, most of the Konoha group left their temporary camp and approached. Among the absent were Sasuke and his team, along with Ino, Sakura, Kakashi, and Yamato. When Hinata had first informed the group that they were permitted to visit Naruko's resting place, there was much joy. However, this joy quickly turned to hesitation when Hinata detailed Inari's conditions. Since certain members could not participate and others were required to be blindfolded and temporarily restricted from using chakra, many felt uneasy. Hinata, however, assured them it was the only way they could honor Naruko, as Inari would not compromise. Thus, it was arranged for 10-10's team to act as lookout, while others stayed behind to assist with village defenses. Upon meeting Inari, everyone accepted a temporary chakra-suppressing pill, which had no long-term effects, and allowed themselves to be blindfolded. A samurai guided each of them gently to ensure they stayed on the correct path, while others kept watch to ensure order and safety. After about an hour of walking, they reached their destination. The samurai carefully removed everyone's blindfolds. The Konoha group was left speechless by the beautiful sight before them. A vast clearing surrounded by vibrant trees in full bloom stretched out before them. Petals drifted gently through the air, carried by a soft breeze. At the center was a sparkling pond so clear that the bottom could easily be seen. In the middle of the pond was a small island, just large enough for an old, sturdy oak tree and a dignified gravestone, Naruko's memorial. 12 smooth white stones formed a path across the pond, allowing visitors to respectfully cross over to the island. The scene was serene and breathtaking. You may each approach Naruko-sama's memorial one at a time. Choose among yourselves who will go first. Please be respectful and do not touch the seal on the stone. It is a protective seal crafted by the Kazekage's brother to preserve it. My samurai and I will keep watch around the pond. We will observe from a distance but not listen, ensuring your privacy. However, any inappropriate behavior will be addressed immediately, said the samurai leader with calm authority. Understood, replied Kurenai respectfully. With a nod, the samurai took their positions. The group quickly decided that Lee would go first. He hopped across the stones with care until he stood before the gravestone. The inscription on the white marble read: Uzumaki Naruko. Hero of the Land of Waves. Hero of Naru/Yuki country. Hero of Takigakure. Unsung hero of the Hidden Leaf. A true hero. Who brought light to others. May she find joy and peace in every new journey she embarks upon. With Lee. Reading the inscription, Lee smiled sadly. It suited his dear friend perfectly. Even though the Hidden Leaf had not recognized her the way others did, other lands celebrated her courage and spirit. Hello, my dearest friend Naruko. I hope you can hear me from the heavens. I like to believe you can see us and feel our presence. I achieved my dream of becoming a splendid ninja of Konoha, just as I promised. And I continue to train every day, just as you would. I also have a family now, a wonderful wife and a spirited daughter named Fuku, whose energy reminds me so much of yours. My beloved Yakumo, like you, faced great hardships because of circumstances beyond her control, but through kindness and perseverance, she became a wonderful ninja. I vow to continue training hard and will ensure that Konoha one day fully honors your memory as they should have long ago. Lee then gently placed a pair of orange leg warmers on a branch of the oak tree, one of Naruko's favorite colors. I hope you like them, he said with a soft smile before respectfully stepping back. With Neji. Neji approached quietly. Greetings, Naruko-san. Though I do not know if the spirits can hear us, I find comfort in speaking to you. Even though you did not live to see it yourself, the branch house of the Hyuga has been freed from its old traditions, thanks to Hinata-sama, whose strength was inspired by her love and respect for you. I recall the words you once spoke to me during the Chunin exams, about understanding what it means to bear a mark without choice. I didn't fully understand then, but after seeing how you endured hardship with grace, I do now. My uncle has acknowledged his past mistakes, and though he has changed, it was your kindness and example that truly showed us another way. Neji then took his old Chunin exam headband from his pouch and placed it gently among the other gifts left by Naruko's many admirers. You taught me that our fates are not pre-written, we can shape our own paths. I only wish you were here now to see all the lives you touched. Neji gave a small bow and quietly stepped away. With Choji. Hey, Naruko. It's been a while. Things have changed so much. We're facing challenges, and the village doesn't feel quite the same without your laughter and light. Ayame and old man Tucci miss you dearly. They even created a ramen dish in your honor, the Uzumaki Supreme Special. You would have loved it. I wish you were still here, Naruko. We could really use your spirit and your endless optimism. I also miss our ramen eating contests. You were the only one who could keep up with me. Choji placed a special bowl and chopsticks before Naruko's memorial. This is from Ayame, Tucci, and me, a reminder of all the good times. His voice trembled slightly with emotion, but he left with a gentle smile, carrying memories of a beloved friend who had inspired them all. With Shikamaru. Hey Naruko, it seems you're just as determined now as you were before, making us come all this way to visit you and honor your memory, Shikamaru said, smiling softly. As you might have heard from others, we're currently facing a challenging time. A lot has changed, and honestly, things have only gotten more complicated ever since those in the council made the decision to send you away. Just because you brought Sasuke back and used the Nine-Tails' strength to do so, they tried to use you for their own safety, without appreciating everything you did. In the end, their poor choices only made things harder for everyone. You might be interested to know, I managed to talk some sense into Ino after you left. She had been caught up in what some of the less understanding villagers were saying. I had to have a serious conversation with her. It was probably the first time I ever saw her truly speechless. Afterward, she realized her mistake, changed for the better, and grew much stronger. She's even married now to a guy named Sai. He's actually a good guy, a bit blunt when it comes to Sasuke, but that just earns him a few points in my book. Ino wanted to come today, but because of everything that happened, the others thought it might be better if she stayed behind, along with Kakashi, Sakura, and Sasuke. Also, I'm married now too. Thankfully, my wife isn't nearly as overwhelming as my mom, so we get along pretty well. We're expecting a child, and if it's a boy, we're planning to name him Asuma. If you meet Asuma-sensei where you are, please tell him that Ino, Choji, Konohamaru, and I are doing our best to guide Hiruzen and Kurenai's son. We're making sure he becomes an amazing ninja, just like his parents. Shikamaru pulled out a small, polished steel plaque engraved with the words. Uzumaki Naruko, hero of Konoha and friend to all. This is from Lady Tsunade. She really wanted to be here, Shikamaru said, gently placing the plaque on a thick tree branch before stepping away. After Shikamaru left, Guy came forward and placed a bright green training outfit, just like the ones he and Lee wore, under the tree in Naruko's honor. Then, Kurenai lit some incense and bowed respectfully. With Tenten. Once Kurenai and Guy finished paying their respects, Tenten approached Naruko's memorial with a tender smile. Hi Naruko. It's been a long time. I never thought our next meeting would be like this, but I guess this is the closest any of us will get for now, Tenten said warmly. Talking to you like this feels a little strange, but comforting too. We didn't get to know each other as well as we should have, even though you visited my family's weapon shop so many times. I always thought you were an amazing person. Learning about the nine tails inside you didn't change my view, it just made me admire how strong your spirit truly was. I remember the first time you visited our shop. You spent so long looking at all the different weapons, admiring even the simple ones. You finally chose some basic kunai, shuriken, and exploding notes. When it came time to pay, I saw how embarrassed you were to realize you didn't have enough money. My father offered you a discount, but you proudly refused. Instead, you worked at the shop to pay the rest off. That always stayed with me. I'm sorry I didn't take the time to truly get to know you. I was busy with my training and family, and I assumed you were just another kid chasing big dreams. I even underestimated you during the Chunin exams when you faced Neji. I thought no one could defeat him, but you proved me wrong, and even helped him grow into a better person. Tenten smiled sadly and took out a silver kunai, carefully placing it near the other offerings. I don't know what happened to the set we once gave you, but just like before, this kunai is a gift from my family, a symbol of your true strength. You were far stronger than anyone ever gave you credit for. You're a true hero, Naruko, and I'll always admire you for that. With that, Tenten stepped back quietly. With Konohamaru. Then Konohamaru stepped forward, his expression both proud and heartfelt. Hey boss. I never imagined I'd have to talk to you like this, he said quietly. Even though this isn't where you're really resting, since we couldn't find you, this place feels right. I always dreamed that one day I'd become Hokage and find a way to bring you back home where you belong. That dream hasn't changed. I promise you, I'll become Hokage for both of us, no matter what. I kept my last promise to you too. After you left, I stood up to the council and anyone who treated you unfairly. You should have seen it, boss, it was legendary. Remember the Inuzuka dogs? Let's just say Koharu and the Hyuga clan had quite the surprise. Konohamaru laughed lightly, his smile bright. I really miss you, boss. Things haven't been the same without you. Some people are even trying to make Sasuke the next Hokage, but don't worry. I won't let that happen. I'll protect the dream you fought for, and I know Lady Tsunade would stand with me on that too. Oh. And one more thing, can you believe it? I'm getting married next year. I'm marrying Hyuga Hanabi, Hinata's younger sister. You probably wouldn't believe it if you saw us when we first met. We really didn't get along at all. But over time, we started understanding each other, and eventually, we grew close. A few months ago, I asked her to marry me, and she said yes. I think you would have liked her, boss. She's not like Hinata was back when we were younger. Hinata was quiet and gentle, while Hanabi has always had a spark in her. She's strong-willed, doesn't let anyone push her around, and has a bold spirit that I really admire. Konohamaru smiled fondly, then his tone shifted to one of resolve. And just so you know, boss, I won't let the forces from Kiri take control of this land. This village still sees you as the hero you are, and I know how much you cared about the people here. So I promise you, they won't take this place away from us. With that, Konohamaru gently placed an old pair of goggles, the same ones Naruko gave him when she became a Genin, next to her memorial stone. Here you go, boss. I told you I'd return these one day. And like you always said, I keep my promises. His eyes shimmered as he placed the goggles beside the stone. After Konohamaru stepped away, Moigi and Udon quietly approached to pay their respects. Just like Konohamaru, they each placed their old goggles next to Naruko's memorial. With Kiba. Once Moigi and Udon finished, Kiba and Akamaru made their way to the site. Hey Naruko. It's been a while. Never thought I'd be talking to you like this. Honestly, I didn't expect to say this, but I really miss you. He sighed. Things haven't been the same since you left. A lot of the alliances Konoha used to have were broken after the council made that awful decision. Afterward, we faced a lot of struggles. But everyone's been doing their best. Hinata, Shino, Konohamaru, Ino, Choji, Shikamaru, we all helped Kurenai-sensei with her son after Asuma passed. And now we're facing more battles, more challenges. But we're standing strong. He paused briefly before continuing. Even with all that, we've come a long way. Shino and I lead the tracking unit now. Tenten heads a high-level operations squad. Ino and Lee's wife Yakumo are next in line to lead interrogation. Choji's on his way to lead one of our elite divisions. Shikamaru is the head of tactical ops and a Jonin commander. Sakura is a top medical specialist. Konohamaru is now considered Sasuke's rival for the next Hokage, and honestly, I hope he gets the title. If Sasuke becomes Hokage, I might just pack my bags. Kiba gave a soft chuckle before continuing. Lee's risen in the ranks too. And Hinata. She's changed. After everything, she became the Hyuga clan head. She helped reform the clan and supported Neji in taking a leadership role on the council. But she's not the same anymore. When we lost you, it really hit her hard. She became quieter, more distant. She still treats us kindly, especially at the hospital, but it's like a part of her shut down. He looked down at a small photo he had brought with him. It was from their academy days, him, Naruko, Choji, and Shikamaru, all smiling. I look at this, and I think about the times we shared. Honestly, I feel a little guilty. I wasn't always the nicest kid back then. I teased you sometimes, like a lot of others. I wish I could go back and be a better friend. Kiba gently nailed the photo to a nearby tree. Akamaru stepped forward and softly pawed at the gravestone, letting out a small whine. I know, buddy. I miss her too. Kiba gave Akamaru a soft pat on the head. As he turned to leave, he looked back with a gentle smile. See you around, Naruko. But hopefully not for a long time. And with that, he walked back toward the others, leaving behind memories and a quiet promise to never forget her. With Shino. Greetings, Naruko-san. Although, like many others, I do not personally believe that speaking to a gravestone allows those beyond to hear us, I do acknowledge that it can be a source of comfort for those who are grieving, Shino said calmly. Although we did not truly know one another well, Naruko-san, I always sensed that you were someone special, someone who was far greater than others realized. Even before I learned about the spirit you carried within you, I could see we shared a bond of being misunderstood. I had witnessed moments of your journey, the way some villagers and shinobi treated you with unwarranted suspicion. In a way, I understood you, for my own clan has experienced similar hardships. For enduring all those difficulties and still standing tall with unwavering spirit, you have my utmost respect and admiration. My only regret is that I never took the opportunity to know you better, as kindred spirits who shared more similarities than we realized. I offer no material gift, but I will say a silent prayer in honor of you, Shino finished, bowing his head respectfully for a few quiet moments before stepping away. With Sai. After Shino, Sai approached the gravestone next. Greetings, Naruko-san. Although we never met, I have heard countless stories about you from those who cared for you deeply, Sai said softly. Like you, I too grew up without parents and endured a strict upbringing under the care of my mentor, Lord Danzo. While I cannot fully disclose the nature of my training, I can say it was far from easy. However, I was fortunate that after you were banished, I was assigned to your teammates. Through them, I began to rediscover my humanity. Your spirit, conveyed through their stories, gave me hope that there could be more to life than duty alone. You reminded me of someone dear to me, a person who was like a brother in all but blood. I also bring a message from Ino-chan, Sakura-san, and Kakashi-san. They could not be here themselves, but they asked me to tell you that they are deeply sorry for the mistakes they made. They understand that their apologies cannot undo the past, but they hope you might find it in your heart to forgive them one day. Sai then pulled out a small, hand-painted portrait from his pouch, a smiling Naruko in her bright orange attire, proudly wearing a Hokage hat. Carefully, he placed it beneath a photo Kiba had left. This is my gift to you, Naruko-san. I hope wherever you are, you have found happiness, Sai said before quietly returning to the group. With Hinata. Hinata, the last to step forward, approached the gravestone with soft steps. Hello, Naruko-chan, Hinata whispered. I often dreamed that one day you would return to Konoha, so I could finally tell you what has been in my heart for so long. But that dream never came true. My greatest regret is not having the chance to tell you how deeply I loved you. I would have followed you anywhere, leaving behind everything, just to be by your side. When I first heard the news, I struggled to find a reason to continue. It was Neji-ni-san, Kurenai-sensei, and my sister Hanabi who reminded me that you would have wanted me to keep going, to stay strong. I remember the day I was training with my father, Hiyashi-sama. He spoke harsh words, doubting you and the dreams you believed in. That day, I made a vow, I would grow stronger, not just for myself, but for you. I would work to transform my clan, to bring about the change you always inspired in others. For 3 years, I trained relentlessly under Tsunade-sama's guidance, pushing myself beyond every limit. And whenever I faltered, I remembered your encouragement during the Chunin exams, and how you believed in me even when I couldn't believe in myself. In time, I achieved my goals, I led my clan toward unity and helped remove the barriers that divided us for so long. It was all because of your influence, Naruko-chan. Now, I vow to protect the home and the memory you loved so dearly. I promise I will always honor your legacy. Hinata then gently placed a single white orchid at the base of the gravestone. My feelings for you will never change, Naruko-chan. You will always be the one I cherish most, she said, 2 small tears escaping down her cheeks. She softly kissed the gravestone, then turned away, brushing her tears aside as she rejoined the others. After Hinata returned, the samurai respectfully blindfolded them once more and led them back to the camp. The next day in the Raikage's office. The Raikage was seated behind his desk, engaged in a serious meeting with Yoruichi, Soifan, Hayabusa Ryu, Akechi Mitsuhide, Miyoshi Sayuri, Juga Liang, and Seiwa Anaisu. They were discussing the details of an important operation that could turn the tide in favor of Kumagakure and the Heavenly Alliance. The meeting was progressing carefully when suddenly the doors opened, and Raikage's secretary, Aiz Nanao, entered the room. Nanao was a young woman with pinned-back black hair, blue eyes, glasses, and wore a neat uniform consisting of a white shitage, a black kosode, and a hakama. Nanao, why are you interrupting? The Raikage asked, his voice firm but controlled. My apologies, Raikage-sama, Nanao said with a respectful bow. A messenger from Enkai no Kuni just delivered this letter. It is from the daimyo of Nami no Kuni, who, as you know, is currently residing there with his people. She respectfully handed over the scroll. The Raikage inspected it, confirming the daimyo's seal, then quickly read its contents. After a few moments, he smiled. This certainly makes matters much easier, he said, passing the scroll to Juga Liang, who then passed it among the others. As each finished reading, they smiled as well, realizing the operation in Nami no Kuni would proceed more smoothly with the people's support. So, Raikage-sama, do we proceed with Operation Seawall as planned? Anaisu asked. Yes, the Raikage replied. However, there will be a small adjustment. I will personally go ahead of the main force aboard the Suzaku. Juga Liang-sensei, you will command the expedition force. While I'm away, Anaisu, you will oversee operations here. Ryu and Yoruichi, continue preparations for Operation Clean Sweep. Mitsuhide-sensei, Sayuri-sensei, assist Shibuki with Operation Judgment. Soifan, you and your unit will handle the Toad matter our patrols reported. Understood, they all replied, respectfully bowing before leaving to prepare. 2 days later in the command tent. Things were certainly becoming more and more intriguing, thought the Raikage with a slight smile as he left his office to prepare for his journey to Nami no Kuni. Inside the command tent, Inari, Tazuna, and the Konoha team leaders were gathered, discussing any final adjustments to their tactical and strategic plans before the upcoming operation. The fleet was expected to arrive near Kiri within a day. Suddenly, Neji burst into the tent, urgency in his expression. Neji-kun, it is quite unusual to interrupt a meeting without notice, Guy said in a calm but firm voice. My apologies, Guy-sensei, Neji responded respectfully. I have just returned from my observation post by the coastal shore outside the village, and I spotted the Kiri fleet emerging through the morning mist on the horizon. Are you absolutely certain? Inari asked with urgency, to which Neji nodded confidently. This is unexpected, they are arriving a full day earlier than anticipated, Inari said, frowning thoughtfully. Neji, how much time do we have before they reach the shore? Kakashi asked. I estimate that it will be about 2 to 3 hours before their forces begin to approach, Neji answered. Good, that gives us a bit of time to make final preparations, Yamato said, with Kakashi nodding in agreement. All right then. Kakashi, gather your team, and I will gather mine, Inari instructed, his voice steady. The defense of Nami no Kuni is about to begin. Kakashi nodded once more before leaving with the other team leaders to prepare. And let us all do our very best to protect our home, Inari thought with quiet determination, as he reached for his samurai helmet and moved to rally his forces. Ninja Unit, Aqua. Purpose. The Aqua Division is a specialized unit tasked with patrolling and protecting the coastal regions of Kaminari no Kuni, Land of Lightning. Their primary mission is to safeguard all Heavenly Alliance vessels from potential threats, including enemy shinobi, hostile ships, and pirates. Uniform. Each member of the Aqua Division wears a custom uniform consisting of a water-breathing mask, reinforced black and gray armor, protective arm guards, and a unique water droplet insignia, worn on the right arm for women and the left arm for men. Weapons. Aqua Shinobi are equipped with standard ninja tools and each carries a katana secured on their back. In addition to their issued gear, members may also carry specialized weapons that suit their personal fighting style or area of expertise. Mission scope. The unit is authorized to take on C, B, A, and S rank missions, ranging from coastal defense to deep-sea recovery operations. Core abilities. All Aqua members receive advanced training in aquatic combat, kenjutsu, sword fighting, taijutsu, hand-to-hand combat, genjutsu, illusion techniques, and are especially skilled in Suitenjutsu, water release techniques. They possess the ability to swim at high speeds, dive into deep underwater zones, and face elite underwater units such as Kiri's Shark Division with confidence. Their training also includes tracking and sensory skills specifically attuned to aquatic environments, allowing them to detect and monitor both surface and submerged targets at significant distances. Due to the nature of their missions, they are also trained in strategic demolition and marine engineering, enabling them to handle tasks involving ship-based structures and underwater retrieval. Each Aqua member is paired with a dedicated swim buddy, a partner they train and operate with to ensure safety, build strong teamwork, and improve coordination during missions. History. The Aqua Division was established by the Raikage as a strategic response to Kiri's Shark Division. The concept was developed by Sun Lee, a respected commander of Kumo's submarine forces, who later assumed leadership of the Aqua Division. Their swift development was made possible with guidance from former Shark Division members, particularly those from the Ning clan. Aside from defense operations, the unit is often deployed for search and rescue missions involving missing ships, lost vessels, and valuable underwater cargo recovery. Their skill and dedication have earned them a strong reputation for mission success, true to their motto. No sea too rough, no ocean too wide, no water too deep will keep Aqua from achieving their goal. Training Program. The Aqua training course spans 70 intensive days, focusing on aquatic adaptability, physical endurance, emergency response, diving theory, and underwater combat techniques. Trainees must demonstrate comfort in water-based scenarios, including underwater navigation, knot tying, and gear proficiency. After completing the initial course, trainees attend an additional 70-day program at the Aqua Training and Salvage Command. This phase includes instruction in diving physics and medicine, surface-supplied diving, hydraulic and electrical tool operation, underwater jutsu, structural salvage, and basic ship mechanics. Emphasis is placed on quality assurance, teamwork, and maintaining equipment used in underwater operations. Dear YouTube family, that's all for this part. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Until next time. Regards. 6 Path Weeb.